The opinions and views expressed in the following program are those of the speakers and the host, and do not necessarily reflect those of Yoakley Scott Corporation and Your Sports Network.
Yeah, I've been closer to Jesus before, so can you help me out? Oh, can you help me out? Am I on my own? Am I on my own? Or can you help me out? Am I on my own? Am I on my own? Or can you help me out? Can you help me out? I've been scared to look at my soul. I've been afraid I would follow alone. Yeah, afraid of the things I've been told.
Welcome into a Tuesday edition of Running Point, presented by Greenwood Chevrolet on Mahoning Avenue in Austintown. If you're in the market for a brand new or slightly used automobile, you owe it to yourself, you owe it to your wallet to check out the good folks at Greenwood Chevrolet on Mahoning Avenue in Austintown. They have a great sales department, fantastic finance department, and an incredible service department. Add it all up, it equals car dealership you must visit. So before you put pen to paper and sign the next 4 to 7 years of your life away with car payments, you owe it to yourself to check out the good folks at Greenwood Chevrolet on Mahoning Avenue in Austintown. All right, last night, history was made. Day one of the Major League Baseball Draft League. It was fun. It was different. And it's going to be interesting to see these kids play baseball at Eastwood Field. And hopefully, fingers crossed, please don't rain out opening day, but it doesn't look good.
I love it. I mean, I love the fact that the Scrappers are back. I love the fact that the identity is still there. If you listen to any of the game last night on YSN via our feed from the West Virginia Black Bears, you heard a team that was, scrappy. I mean, to say the least, and it's a fun team to get behind. You've had the fortune of being able to meet Coco already. I'm looking forward to that. I'm just excited, man. Like baseball's back in Youngstown, but you and I talked offline right before the broadcast went on. It was slow.
Yeah, the pace of play's got to pick up, and I think one of the reasons why. There was only one error in the game. It was committed by the Scrappers, and that led to an unearned run. But the walks and the hit batters, oy, oy, oy. We're talking 7 of them given up by West Virginia pitching, and 6 or 7 total given up by the Scrappers. So if you add those, that's 14, and then you add the error, that's 15. We're talking about 5 innings worth of free baseball. That's got to stop. And that's one of the reasons why the game was well over 3 hours. Too many walks in the game. One of the things I did appreciate, though, with the Scrappers, when the game got out of hand, Coco put a lot of guys into the ball game. There were 21 kids that saw action last night, and he only has a 26-man roster. That's impressive to put all but 5 of those kids in the first game of the season. That was a pretty cool look.
And I think you're going to see that a lot. I think you're going to see, these kids are there for a reason. They don't know how long they're there for based on, we were told that there would be a lot of locals that would eventually make their way onto the roster. So if you're not a local, you're looking around the locker room and saying, well, the roster spot is not promised tomorrow. So, Coco's job is basically to get these kids a look in this league. And it's people are saying, well, it's a participation league. It's one day old. Relax. I like it. I mean, can you imagine the nerves, though? You talk about the walks, for the pitchers. You have scouts all over you. For the first time in your life, the nerves that are going through you, and not to give them excuses, but reality is a lot of these kids are coming. You look, there's a lot of community college on this list. There's a lot of different JUCOs, and it's a different experience. And I think the pace of the game will improve, but I also think that the pitching will improve as well.
one of the things that I think Major League Baseball is going to have to look at is, okay, we started this too early. And I think they did. I think they've started this league a little too early. Because when you think about it, your high school teams are in tournament play. There are a couple of high school kids on this team, believe it or not.
Sure.
Sergio Guerra from San Diego, Texas, not San Diego, California. 18-year-old kid is going to graduate or has already graduated from San Diego High School. He contributed with a 2-run single in the 6th inning for the final 2 runs of the Scrappers game. There were one other player's high school. But you got to remember, at least in the state here, we're in district tournament play. If there's any kids locally from high school, which I don't think there will be, but if there's any local kids, we're probably not talking about those kids being a part of the roster until sometime in the 2nd week of June, depending on how good the team is. YSU, I'm torn. I'm personally torn. I want to see Colin Floyd in a Scrappers uniform ASAP. But I also know that if he's in a Scrappers uniform ASAP, that means the YSU baseball season is over. So I kind of want to see Colin Floyd pitch. I kind of want to wait and see Colin Floyd pitch till the 2nd or 3rd week of June because I want to see YSU make a deep, deep run in the tournament. So for the MLB Draft League, I think the first week of June is probably going to be the starting point where you're not going to have to scramble for a roster. But last night, hey, you get the walks out of there. It's a quicker game. I liked what I saw from some of these kids. And, here's your trivia question. Who hit the first home run in the Major League Baseball Draft League?
I saw it on Twitter this morning. I don't remember that.
Yeah, a kid who did not hit a home run at all in college. At all. He's like 5 foot nothing. And
There's
he weighs like
nothing wrong with
155 pounds. And not only does he go home run, he goes oppo home run over the left field wall. So,
Oppo taco.
Yeah, Buck Anderson is your trivia answer. The number 9 hitter goes oppo with a 2-run dinger in the 3rd inning. That started the 5-run uprising for the Scrappers.
But that's how you build a lineup. If you 1 through 9, you can go Yaya. Their designated hitter yesterday led off. It's been a minute since I've seen a DH lead off a ball game.
Yeah, that was pretty cool, and he led off with a lashing double down the left field line. Was stranded at second base, but he wound up 2 for 4, scored a run. The cleanup hitter, from what I've been told, the cleanup hitter Jason Hinchman is going to be the guy that everyone's going to look at for power.
Yeah,
because this guy's just huge and he swings a mean stick. We'll see what happens. He had an RBI single in the 3rd inning. He struck out twice, finished 1 for 3, and then he was taken out of the game by Preston Salazar, who, by the way, is on the roster as a pitcher.
Okay.
But he played first base last night because he is Ohtani in a very small, tiny little thing. Instead of doing it in the major league level, he's done it in college, where he'll play first base when he's not pitching, and then when he's pitching, obviously he's on the mound. But from what I understand, he's a hell of a hitter. He walked and grounded to short in his 2 plate appearances, and also stole a base. So not bad.
Scrappers are back, man, and I'll tell you what, it's just one of those things where I listened to the game last night and I texted you and I said, The Mahoning Valley is fortunate because for our home games, we get you. And I'm not trying to take away anything from anybody else, but you know that Jordan and Heather are both ecstatic because you're going to bring an element of knowledge to the game that the old school baseball, aficionado will appreciate. And I think that's going to be fun for us.
I heard the game last night. First of all, I was more than a little disappointed, not just in the not necessarily in the broadcast, but in the quality of the broadcast on their end. Because you heard echoes, at least in my smartphone, I was hearing echoes. I was like, what the hell is going on here? But you have kids doing these games, and hey, listen. You want to get better, you start somewhere and you get better.
That's a start for that.
And that's one of the cool things about the game. Some are more advanced than others. I listened to these kids last night. I listened to the Williamsport broadcaster and I listened to Richie, and I'm like, there's no there's just it's night and day how much better Richie is than the trio of kids that I heard last night and yesterday. And I'm curious as a broadcasting, just a fan of broadcasting. I know that Trenton has always had good broadcasters. We didn't hear them yesterday. I'm sure we'll probably hear the broadcaster today. Their home games are at Rider University unless Arm & Hammer Field is being used by the Buffalo Bisons. This is a weird story. Toronto's not allowed to play because they're not allowed to leave the country.
Right.
So they're in Buffalo on their AAA facility, and Buffalo got kicked out, and they're playing their home games in Trenton. Unless Toronto's on the road, then they play their home games back in Buffalo. And if that's the case, then the Thunder can play their home games at Arm & Hammer Field. If not, then they're over at Rider University playing in a college facility, which isn't a bad thing, but it's weird.
It's like going back to college. You never know where you're playing.
Exactly. And the one thing that I will say, the looks on the kids' faces when they first got into Eastwood Field, they were blown away. They were like, "Are you kidding me? We get to play our home games in this facility?" And then they realized, oh, by the way, there's a mall attached to this ballpark. Everything that you want as far as food is concerned and nightlife is concerned is within walking distance from your apartment that you're in. We get a pretty nice setup.
Yeah, I mean, these kids have nothing to be spoiled. I mean, I guess they are a little bit spoiled if you think about it, but they got nothing to be frustrated about. I mean, you went down the road. You know how it goes. Usually you're playing at sandlots on your way up. These kids are playing at a true minor league stadium, a true professional stadium. And, the single-A cats are probably like, wait a minute, how do I get back into that? How do I get in the MLB draft league? How do I get back in an opportunity to play in these stadiums? But you look at it, and I'm excited for this league overall. I think it's going to be a great league for not only the draftees, I guess, but it's going to be a great league for this area because this area, I mean, we're just looking for somebody to root for. We love baseball. This is a heavy baseball town, whether people want to admit to it or not. But we got to get behind them, and it starts with YSU. I put a tweet out the other day, like, we have clamored for a winner in football for how long? And we start winning a couple games and people start showing up, and then, it's a leisurely thing here in the area. If we start getting winners, we got to start backing them. And it goes the same for the Scrappers. You win 8-1 last night. There's not too many teams in this league. They can control their own destiny. If we end up winning a title, support the kids. Go out there and have yourself a night. Talk to Jordan. Go on mvscrappers.com and order some tickets, and put your headphones on and listen to Ron throughout the night and on YSN and just enjoy a night with your family. And that's, as we get back to normal, Ron, that's what it's going to be about.
Yeah, the first homestand, it's going to be still limited tickets available, and there are tickets, although opening night is scarce for Wednesday. The one thing that I was told that I'm kind of sort of relieved about this, actually, any games that are rained out are not going to be made up. It's just we're going to move along. We're not going to play doubleheaders. This is a league that is essentially going to be a casual league where we're just here to do one thing, and that's get as many of these kids to be marketed to where they're going to improve their draft stock. That's why this league is in play. That's why we're playing the MLB Draft League. I had a lot of folks that wondered, well, wait a second, what's the difference between this and the Indians affiliation? Well, the difference is these kids have yet to be drafted. Think about the combine, or as I like to call it in the NFL, the Underwear Olympics. You get 2 or 3 days where guys are doing the things outside of football. The scouts will always look at film and whatnot, but they're doing some stuff outside of football that might raise their stock a little bit. Baseball, it's different. You're not going to be doing anything other than a 60-yard dash and looking at how hard a kid throws a ball. You have to look at the kid in terms of playing baseball on a daily basis to figure out exactly what we're looking at. And for scouts, this is a golden opportunity. One of the points that was brought up yesterday that I really appreciated from the kids last night in the West Virginia broadcast, they said it, and they only said it once. I wish they would have repeated this. You got to keep in mind, these kids that are swinging the bat, they're not swinging aluminum bats in this league. This is a first. They're swinging wooden bats, and there is a distinct difference between swinging an aluminum bat and swinging a wooden bat, so that there's going to be a little bit of an adjustment period for that. There's going to be an adjustment period for the pitchers in that you're going to be seeing a whole lot better competition than you saw in your JC, in your D3, D2, or even D1, because this is going to be the best of the best that are invited to improve their draft stock. So you're going to be seeing better competition. I loved what I saw from, especially from the relief pitchers last night. There were guys that were bringing it. Fastballs in the low to mid 90s, sliders that were exploding out of their hands. I loved what I saw from the game last night, and I'm looking forward to hearing the game tonight, and hopefully Mother Nature cooperates tomorrow, and we got a hell of a crowd, and we have some fun tomorrow night with the Scrappers on opening night against State College, who, by the way, lost to Williamsport yesterday, 6-5.
Yeah, and not only goes for that, but it goes for, we got some district championships tomorrow that are planned. So if it rains out, boy, we got some trouble ahead for us. I complain about it because I love baseball during the weekend. I love being able to do it. But from what our standpoint, from actually being able to broadcast, I do like that the OHSAA kind of takes care of it, on the front part of the week. The Mondays, like yesterday, we had a game at 1 o'clock. I did the Salem Niles game, which, by the way, unbelievable game.
Anthony and I were sitting back, and we both said, okay, the Aces are going up against each other. They're both really good pitchers. First of 4 wins. And then we're hearing these updates. I'm like, what the hell's going on over there?
Yeah, it's a gutsy call. I talked to Coach DeBar last week whenever they beat Louisville, and I basically asked him, well, are you going to go with Lane again? Are you going to go with Gavin? Carson Rhodes is also on there. And he said, we're going to figure out who we're playing first, because at the time they didn't know they were playing Niles, and then we're going to make a decision. They made a decision. It got dicey there towards the end where Niles just wouldn't go away. Niles pitched 4 or 5 kids yesterday. They basically said, we'll figure it out. If we end up winning this game, we'll figure out the pitching situation on Wednesday. But, give Gavin Wilms credit. The kid came in, he pounded the zone, ran into some trouble, and I think he was pretty close to maxed out. And they brought in Carson Rhodes. And Carson, a freshman, Lane's brother, comes in and throws some flames and takes care of it. He retires in the 6th and the 7th, and the rest is history. But clutch hitting all day yesterday. It really was incredible. There were some interesting calls from the officiating, even starting with the first pitch of the game. They yelled at Gavin Wilms for not having his left foot on the rubber.
That's something that has been pounded into every umpire to call. You have to put your some kind of foot has to be on that
His right
rubber.
foot was on the rubber. His left foot wasn't.
Okay.
Which, he's a right-handed pitcher.
Yeah.
Your left foot's going to be off the rubber as soon as you step back from the windup. Or if you're from a stretch, your left foot's not on the rubber.
Your left foot's not on the rubber at
So
all.
it was a weird situation where the third base umpire came over and talked to the home plate umpire who called it an illegal pitch, and then they said, no, you know what? You were right. You were okay. And then an inning later, the third base umpire calls an illegal pitch on Gavin Wilms. And it was just like, and I get it. Like, the rules are the rules. But to say it was the left foot, somebody's wrong.
Yeah,
He's a right-handed pitcher.
And I'm left-handed, so the left foot would have to be on the mound at all times. A right-hander, the right foot would have to be on the mound at all times, or on the rubber at all times. And if it is
until the
release, and then your foot normally comes out, and you land like this. So when a line drive comes at you, you're gonna snag it.
You land in a defensive position,
yeah.
But you're allowed to push off of the rubber on the release.
Yeah,
like, you don't have to be connected to it.
No.
Like, the way they were talking, and we were, probably 40 feet away, but through the grapevine, we kind of got word of what it was, and I started thinking, like, why would his left foot have to be?
Yeah, that's a little goofy.
The other thing I wanted to bring up, you talked about the wooden bats. I mean, for a lot of kids, especially nowadays, they're using wooden bats in the cages, and they're using wooden bats in summer leagues and things of that nature. And at this point, the wooden bats, if you talk to coaches, you talk to players, wooden bats actually are better than the aluminum bats that they have to use, because these aluminum bats are dead. They're absolutely dead because there's so many restrictions on them now. Now, if you go to slow pitch softball, that's another story.
Yeah, no, you get a jolt with those bats.
But also, I don't know if you know this, the MLB is doing a draft combine this year, which you talk about the Underwear Olympics. They're doing 60-yard dashes. They're doing velo. All the stuff that you talked about, they're doing this year for their combine participants. And I am going to be glued to my television because I'm over the NFL combine.
Yeah.
Because players can choose not to do it. I'm not very good at the shuttle drill, so I'm not going to do it. I mean, to me, that's a tell right there.
Well, the other thing, and I've always had a problem with it, is, okay, you want to do the bench presses, that's cool. I mean, you got to have strength in order to play in the NFL, especially in the upper body. You got to have strength. But the shuttle, do you do that on the football field? No, you don't. Do you do a 40-yard dash on the football field?
Yes.
You're telling your speed. But, I mean, the difference between the NFL Combine and Major League Baseball, if they do their Combine correctly, is everything Major League Baseball is going to do in their Combine has everything to do with the game. If a pitcher how hard does this pitcher throw? We're going to find out because we're going to have radar guns on now.
I still think they're going to do, like, strength and stuff like that. I don't know if it's going to be necessarily 225 on a bar.
Yeah.
But I still think they're going to. I'll have to look it up and see because we were redecorating our house, renovating our house, and it popped on the TV, and I stopped immediately. And I thought, I've been yearning for this for years because the NBA has it. I mean, that's where we found out that Kevin Durant can't lift the bar. It's one of those things. Like, I'm actually interested because then you start realizing these guys aren't necessarily who you thought they were. They're athletes.
Yeah.
When somebody puts it up, you talk about a young man that has size and a big hitter. If he puts up 225 15 times, that's gonna raise some eyebrows. Okay, this kid's got power. You talk about opposite field. That's where the push-ups, that's where the bench press comes in because you can connect with that ball and accelerate it out the other way.
No, absolutely.
And that's why I'm interested. I'm loving it. And ever since they brought, and I don't want to give all the credit to Junior, but ever since they brought King Griffey Jr. on, the bottom half of the foundation of Major League Baseball has shifted, and you can feel it. I mean, with this league, with a combine, with the type of things that we're seeing at the Major League level, like the bat flips and all the things, the showcasing. They're letting Trevor Bauer talk a little more, which I like, because it needs that. It's free marketing for the league.
They don't do a good enough job as far as marketing. So that if you're gonna market the kids, let the kids be the kids.
Let the inmates run the asylum.
Yeah,
let it happen.
I mean, unless you're gonna bring someone in to market them, which that's so overdue. It's not even funny. One of the things that I want to see with a baseball combine, and I think it's so grossly underrated, especially the corner outfielders. Have someone smack a ball down the line and have the corner outfielder grab the ball. Okay, can you hit your cutoff man? Can you please hit your cutoff man?
They're not going to put
and see if you can consistently do that to show me that you can actually play some defense. I don't know how many times I've seen through the years guys that will field a ground or field a base hit down the line or wherever, and they throw the ball to God knows where. I'm like, what are you doing? There's the cutoff man. Hit him. If you're not going to hit him, throw the ball directly to the bag. The guy, if I had a dime for every time I saw a kid throw the ball to another zip code, I wouldn't have to do this for a living. It was crazy the amount of times I saw that. So one of the things that I would want to see is for a corner outfielder, you're supposed to play great defense because you're more of an offensive oriented players in the corners, first, third, left, and right. but the outfielders have to hit their cutoff guys in order to keep the game somewhat respectable. So I would love to see the corner outfielders. How often can you hit your cutoff?
What if they have a cannon? What if they have an absolute rocket on their shoulder?
Again, if you want to throw the ball from the left field corner to the second base bag and overshoot your cutoff guy and throw the ball to the bag, I'm all for that too. I want to see that stuff. I want to see a guy on the right field have a Clemente type of moment where you take a ball off the wall and from the warning track in right field throw an absolute seed to the third base bag. I'd love to see that.
But you can't have it both ways. You can't have Roberto Clemente hit the cutoff and have that highlight.
Oh, no. I'm saying if you can hit the cutoff guy, if you don't have the arm strength to go from point A to point B, I want you to at least accurate enough to go point A, cutoff man to point B. Because you get a better... if you don't hit your cutoff man, you got no shot in hell at getting a guy from first to third. That's why that's important. However, if the guy has an arm good enough to go from point A to point B and not use the cutoff guy, and you can accurately do it more often than not.
Okay,
I'm
so
happy for that.
you're talking about major, or I guess minor leagues.
Yeah.
Okay, in the minor leagues, you don't have guys that have noodle arms. Usually, they don't make that cut.
I've seen a few.
Typically, typically they don't show up.
No,
but in high school, I completely agree with you, because the majority of the time, the outfielders have a worse arm than they think they do.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. An above average arm are usually going to be, unless you're on a stacked team or a team that is really, really good.
Canfield.
No names. Your arms are going to be in the infield. Your arms are going to be either on the mound,
sure,
behind the dish,
sure,
at shortstop, at third base, things of that nature. But, some schools, especially around here, have been blessed and fortunate enough to have some good arms in the outfield to where they don't need to use the cutoff as much, or they can have the cutoff a little bit closer to the bag.
Yeah.
And they can make that adjustment, and the coaches have figured it out. And that's... People don't talk about the evolution of the cutoff man nearly enough, because there's guys out there, the old school baseballers, that come in and say, hit the cutoff every time.
You don't need to hit it every time.
And not if your guy has an arm.
If your guy has a hose and he can accurately go from point A to point B without using the guy in between, do it.
But if you're in instructional league and you're 8 years old and you're telling your kid to throw from the corner to third base, trying to throw out and coach pitch, you're part of the issue. You're part of the problem. You foundationalize that, so you hit the cutoff. You might need two cutoffs. Sometimes there's a double cut, in some ballparks that are too big. I mean, I know for like Scene Park for the 14Us, I've seen double cuts, and it needs to happen, because if some kid gets a hold of one, sends it to the wall, 14-year-olds aren't going to normally be able to throw from the warning track at Scene Park, which is 325, to second base on a line.
No.
Oftentimes, that cutoff is probably where left field is playing, if it's to left field. You know what I mean?
Oh, yeah. No, the cutoff is a lot deeper.
And then sometimes you need a double cut. Sometimes the first baseman will come out and end up as a double cut to second base or third base. So I'm with you to an extent, but in minor league, as well as I do, they're trying to make a name for themselves.
Of course.
They want themselves on sports. They want to have everybody at the next level see their arm from the corner, like Derek Jeter throwing pole to pole. You know, and people, if you've never seen that, if you've never seen, what freaks of nature these guys are in Major League Baseball,
sick.
it's disgusting.
Sick.
I mean, Derek Jeter just with ease would take a baseball and go corner to corner, pole to pole like that, and it's on a frozen rope to the other pole.
Yeah.
Go ahead and try to do that.
No, it's sickening how they can do that.
My arm tingles just thinking about it.
Yeah, it's cool to see it, but it's sickening at the same time, because you got a guy that just goes, and the ball goes.
It's like on a string.
Yeah, and it just takes off, and it doesn't land until it goes into the guy's glove with authority, I might add. But no, I mean, I look forward to that. But for this league, I think this is long overdue. In that, through the years, especially when the aluminum bats in my day were juiced to the point where guys were getting 5 home runs a game. It was disgusting. And then you had these guys get the aluminum bats out of their hands and put a wooden bat in their hands. And it was, your power is now officially gone. You're not going to hit 5 home runs a game, and you're just going to be, a normal hitter. For scouts, especially the older guys that haven't caught up to, or not necessarily bought everything that is analytics, this is a godsend for those people, because there's a profound difference between an aluminum bat and a wooden bat. Maybe not so much today, except for the fact that if you get jammed, an aluminum bat's not going to break. A wooden bat's going to get torn and shredded into two. Especially if it's a kid that's throwing as hard as these kids were, you got no shot. If somebody jams you with a wooden bat, you're going to get a broken bat. So I think that aspect of it is a godsend. Just the idea that how many of these kids were consistently looked at in junior college or Division III? You're going to get consistently looked at in this league. And I think that you're going to see some kids that aren't household names in college ball that are going to get drafted, and everyone's going to be like, well, how the hell did this happen? Well, if you lived in Youngstown and Mahoning Valley, Morgantown, West Virginia, and that area, Williamsport in that area, State College in that area, Frederick, Maryland in the D.C., Baltimore area, and Trenton, Philadelphia area, you're going to know why these kids were drafted.
Well, it's interesting. I mean, we talked about it, how excited we were that we were going to get local kids, and you look on the roster, and this is no fault of the Scrappers, I don't think, but there's nobody local.
Well, that's because all of them are playing in conference tournament play. I mean,
yes and no. I mean, there's some kids out there that went away that could come back and be from the Youngstown area, from Western Pennsylvania, from different parts. I get your point 100%, but like the closest we have is Cincinnati.
Yeah, the 2 kids from Champion that are going to be on this team. Kent State is in the middle of their MAC tournament, and Drake Bacho is going to be playing in the conference.
Are we permitted to say this stuff, by the way?
Are they? Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Are they in the Conference USA? Or are they All-American Conference? I can't remember which one. I think it's All-American. I think it's All-American Athletic Conference. I think he's in the AAC. Anyway, they're in the middle of conference play, just like Colin is in starting this weekend, will be in conference play. Now, hopefully the Penguins win the conference and they go to the NCAA tournament, and that would be the next weekend. And hopefully Penguins get out of that and go to a super regional, and that would be the next weekend. But if YSU were to be beaten this weekend, Colin Floyd would probably, in all likelihood, 99% chance, join the Scrappers the next week as they're on the road.
I'd be interested to see how quickly that turnaround is.
Yeah, I'll be curious.
Because, correct me if I'm wrong, YSU can still get invited to another tournament, could they not?
I don't think they have other tournaments with D1.
Okay.
Other than the NCAA tournament.
Because I know it was D3, but I know if we didn't make a tournament, the D3 tournament, we could go into another tournament that was lesser of sorts, but it's still baseball.
And one of the reasons why you're seeing so many D3 kids, the NCAA did not allow D3 or D2 or junior college tournaments this year. So that's why we are heavy on JC kids, D3 and D2 kids. And there's a couple of high school kids sneaked in there as well. But like I told everyone, this roster is going to change dramatically in the next 3 weeks.
Doesn't it remind you of like the Navy SEALs? You know what I mean? Like,
oh yeah,
you're not good enough, so they make you go ring the bell.
Exactly. It's at some point, these kids that are playing right now, you had better get yourself an early jump in this league and really announce your presence with authority. Otherwise, there's a chance that you're going to get swallowed up and thrown off of this team, because there's going to be kids from D1 schools that are going to be on this team, and they're going to be a part of this team. I don't know what the max roster is going to be I think it's 30 if I'm not mistaken. So right now they're at 26, but there's about 20 kids that are out that we haven't seen yet that we will be seeing in the next 2, 3, 4 weeks. So the kids right now, a lot of them you're probably not going to see the entire season. But the beautiful part of this league, DJ, is the fact, and I said this a couple of times, unlike in the New York Penn League where you get a kid that's on a roll and he's just having himself a great year, much like Owen Miller was when he was in AAA ball. Oh, he's going to get promoted. There ain't no promotions in this league. This is it. This is the league that you are in. You ain't getting promoted anytime soon.
Until you get drafted.
Until you get drafted, you're not getting promoted. So you can hit 500. You can have an ERA of .10. You're not going anywhere until you're drafted. And keep doing what you're doing, because by destroying this league, in theory, scouts are going to look at this person and say, oh, well, he just went from a X round draft pick to a much higher draft pick, which means you got a higher bonus, and now you've got a, especially if you're looking to go back to college, or you're a high school kid wanting to go to college, now you got a decision to make.
I'm interested to see how many of the scouts will make their way from Eastwood Field to Bob Scene Field and Bob Scene Park, looking at kids potentially for the next year. You know what I mean?
I think that you probably could find, at least in this area. I mean, if I were employed by a Major League Baseball team, and my assignment is, hey, go out and check out the Major League Baseball Draft League. All right, no problem. I'm going to do that. But then if I catch word, oh, by the way, let's say the B League has one of their many tournaments, showcase tournaments, that's going to be happening this summer. Oh, that's going on, and it's going on in the daytime, 4 hours before this team plays. Okay, let me get in my car. Let me go to Struthers. Let me check out these kids and just get a head start on the 14, 15, 16, 17-year-old kids that I may want to be interested in, and take some mental notes, and then come back here and then when I present my stuff to the league, and we're like, okay, not only are we going to be talking about the Major League Baseball Draft League, hey, there was something going on over in Struthers, a tournament of sorts. These are kids that you want to take a look at, and let's put somebody, the regional scout, on this person, because this person might have what it takes to be a part of our organization.
I mean, if I'm them, I'm a permanent subscriber of YSN, and that way at the games you can watch what's going on at Scene Park. You see something you like, pull that kid out. I mean, right now I can name 3 kids that if they weren't playing baseball right now, I'd be interested to see how they stack up against the competition at the MLB Draft League.
I've already made the one prediction that, and I finally got around to seeing Canfield play Friday against Springfield. If AJ Havrilla isn't a first or second round draft pick, where you don't really, or you really should have no business being in this league because you're already a made man, quote unquote, I would think he's going to be in this league.
Probably. I mean, but
I would think he would be.
Keep in mind he's only a sophomore.
Exactly.
So you got two more years.
2 more years. You get 2 more years.
But you look at a guy like a Brandon Mikos.
I would think that when he is 2-3 years down the road, when he's at YSU.
Yeah. But why wouldn't you? Why wouldn't you try now? It doesn't affect your eligibility. I would say, yeah, go.
I mean, if you cut the mustard and you were good enough to do it, absolutely.
I mean,
why not?
How often are you going to go through a season that nobody scores against you?
Right, exactly. I mean, if it were me and somebody gave me that opportunity, and again, this is an invite courtesy of PBR, which those are the people that we definitely need to also get in touch with.
Sure.
But I mean, if my kid were invited by PBR to take part in this league, I don't give a crap if you got a scholarship to a major university or a Division I program. Get your ass in this league and let's see what you can do.
And that's my thing.
And if you somehow, some way light it up in this league, and your draft stock just went, oh, you were not even on our board, to we think you're a top 3 or top 4 round pick.
The only potential problem, Ronnie, I see is injury. And we have this conversation all the time. I'm on one side of the fence. The guys on the Power Hour are on the other side of the fence. I mean, you saw what happened to Gavin Bruni. He breaks his throwing hand.
Yeah, but that was a freak accident, unfortunately.
I get that. But if you're and everybody wants to play more baseball and get, evaluated and stuff like that. But like, let's say that you're a senior, you get invited after your season to go in there, you throw 13 pitches and the 14th is the one that changes your life from a Tommy John standpoint, or from, whatever. You're going to second guess yourself the rest of your career.
Yeah, but we can all sit back and live in fear.
No, I get it. Trust me.
Trust me. I mean, I understand what you're saying, but that is the equivalent of, well, I don't want to leave this building because I might get run over by a bus, or I might get run over by a car. You can't live your life in fear.
No.
I mean, haven't we learned that lesson with COVID that's now hopefully on the backside? Okay, yeah, I wear a mask or whatever when I'm supposed to or when I'm told to. But other than that, screw that. I got the mask off and I've double vaccinated, and if I don't have to wear it, I ain't wearing it because I ain't afraid of that shit anymore.
Yeah.
So if you play the game and you get hurt playing the game.
But in the same token, you talk about, and I'm not trying to get into your personal life, but you talk about not being afraid of it anymore. But you were afraid for a year and wore a mask
because we didn't know what the hell was going on. But that's apples and oranges.
In a situation where 99.9% of the time you're not going to die or be affected in any way other than being sick. So that, like, you look at that and you go, okay, you're talking out this side, but you got this side you're talking out, now. Like, you're talking on both sides of your mouth. And I think that's what pitchers, especially in today's day and age.
But that's apples and oranges. I mean, you're not going to get killed. But, I mean, if you get hurt playing the game, okay. I mean, there's a big difference between I'm going to throw 125 pitches and then 2 days later I'm going to go and pitch 125 more.
There is.
I mean, that's abuse.
However, you look at this, Ronnie, and some of these kids are not ever going to be in Major League Baseball. But they are going to be Division I athletes that have their scholarships that pay for school.
Sure.
That's just as important. So what I'm saying is you go to the and I'm not saying it's a Major League Draft League. I'm saying it could be any league. In the summer that they want more exposure, they go, they throw, and the summer before their freshman year of college, they blow out their arm, and guess what? All your scholarships go bye-bye.
No, I get it. And I think that has to be with, let's be honest. If you're going to go about this career, which, I'll just flat out say it, it's astronomical. It's a 98% chance it's not going to be done. I'm not a buzzkill. That's just a fact. There's a 98% chance it's not going to get done to get to the major leagues. And there's a 90% or a 95% chance you're not even going to sniff the minor leagues. Have a backup plan. Having said that, if you're going to do this, yeah, you want to have a plan of how many innings am I going to be throwing? How many innings should I be throwing? That's where, common sense. I mean, if you've already thrown as a 17-year-old, you've already thrown 70 innings, what are you doing?
And that's the point. Is kids don't listen. You and I both know that 18-year-old DJ and 18-year-old Ron.
Oh, much different. Much different.
I'm 36.
Headstrong.
And it's one of those things. Like, if you would have told me, okay, you can come to and you're going to catch 2 games a day, and I'm in.
Yeah.
Let me get my stuff.
Yeah.
36 years old, you tell me I'm catching 2 games a day. I'm like, how much?
Yeah,
what?
That's not happening.
And that's the thing. I mean, it's one of those things where 18-year-olds have a hard time saying no to things, and that's where they need good guidance.
That's where the adults come in.
And sometimes, you know as well as I do, the adults are just as bad because they are living vicariously through their kids.
But the adults are uninformed. That's the problem.
What do you mean?
They're uninformed in terms of what they should know. They don't know because they haven't experienced it.
No, because a lot of times they've never gone through with these. That's why
Yeah.
these Major League Baseball players, I mean, Ken Griffey Jr.'s kid plays football.
Yeah. Yeah.
Does that tell you anything?
Well, he didn't have. I mean, he loves baseball, but he's better at football. Okay, you're better at football. Play the game. I'm sure that if LeBron's kid was better at baseball, LeBron's kid would probably play baseball.
I don't think so.
Unfortunately, LeBron's kid is pretty damn good at basketball, so he'll continue to play basketball.
From that standpoint, LeBron's name is not near as glorious or bowed down upon as it would be in basketball. And Bronny's going to live on, whether he likes it or not, he's going to have to live on it.
Oh, yeah, he's got a mountain to climb.
Jordan's kids,
Yeah.
one of them decided to play. He wasn't as good as Michael Jordan.
No,
so
he was at Beagley.
and he had to live with that.
Mm-hmm.
You know, you think about the mental toughness he had to have because your dad's Michael Jordan.
There's no way in hell I'd want my kid to play basketball because you're like, do you realize what you're up against?
You're set.
Which gives the respect factor in our business for Joe Buck, whose father, look, people of my age know who Jack Buck was. Jack Buck, to me, is one of the greatest baseball announcers I've ever heard in my life. And a guy that could do baseball, football, and do it in a great way. And here's Joe. Here's Jack. Here's Joe. He's exceeded everything his father ever did. And oh, by the way, this guy's a Hall of Fame broadcaster, and you just took his game and went up a higher level.
There's a lot of people that don't like Joe Buck. I think he's a good announcer.
I think he's a great announcer.
I think
at baseball.
I think he's done a lot off his dad's name.
Oh,
I really do.
No, absolutely. Nepotism is a wonderful thing. I mean, look,
As long as you got it.
Skip Carey and Chip Carey are nowhere near as good as their father and grandfather. Not even close. And Skip Carey's passed away, and that's probably bad of me to say that,
Yeah,
but
it's
it's the
kinda rough.
truth. No, but it's the truth. He was nowhere near as good as his father, but he was good. He was good enough to be in the major leagues. So I got no problem. Chip is good enough to be in the major leagues, but neither one held a candle to Harry.
But that is broadcasting is such a interesting topic to discuss about greatness
because it's subjective. It's subjective.
Even awards that you get are subjective.
Oh, it's all subjective.
So it's funny when you not you, but anybody talks about it because we've grown to the status of people just liking us being there to people having their favorite announcers and people not liking some of our announcers. And it's funny, like we get more complaints about our announcing after that team loses than we do if they go run the table during.
No, I know.
Because nowadays,
Yeah.
think about what you do during football. Like, how often do you see, oh, this guy's rooting for the Steelers or this guy's rooting for the Browns? And you just go, okay, so we're going to take our misfortune, and we're going to put it on the announcer?
No.
That's what we do. And it's turned all the way, it's scaled all the way down to YSN.
Oh, I know.
Which
It's
is
just
hilarious. And we've had this conversation before. I think it's so funny to me that you don't hear anything the entire year, and then when the team gets bounced out of the playoffs, unfortunately, that's what happens. Only one team gets to win it all.
Yeah.
We get this guy said this about that. Wait a minute. And I go back and I have to listen to the tape, and it's a lot of times. Now, sometimes there is something there, but a lot of times there's nothing, and it's just people being mad.
You guys had me do a Latonia girls basketball game against Springfield, and I think Larry Scragg and I did the game from Latonia, and my Latonia people were like, "How come you weren't rooting for Latonia?" I was like, "Why?"
Where was it at?
I graduated from Latonia, but I'm not rooting for you guys. I'm a broadcaster. That's not my job. My job is to call a game, and if the game is exciting, I'm gonna have a lot of fun calling the excitement. Well, but you're a Latonia grad. I don't care that I'm a Latonia grad. It just that stuff is no. I mean, people gave me that crap about. Oh, well, you broadcast your nephew's games. You were a homer toward Crestwood. No, I wasn't. If you listen to any of my games, if anything, I was hard on my nephew when he was turning the ball over, whether it was interceptions or passes on the basketball floor that were thrown that shouldn't have been thrown. I was tough on my nephew.
Yeah.
He looked at me and said, "Why do you got to be that?" Look, I'm not trying to be that. I'm just saying I'm calling the game as a broadcaster would call the game. I'm not doing this to disrespect anyone. I'm just calling the game the way I see it.
They're used to things at YSN. They're used to the homerism, which we do. We typically have, especially if it's a team that is not on YSN, it is all in.
Yeah, absolutely.
But when it comes down to, usually it's whatever gym we're in, we go 60-40 or 55-45.
Sure.
But you're right. I mean, in a professional setting, and I'm not saying we're not professional, but I am, in a professional setting, it's 50-50. You know, and listen, if your team's getting beat 40-6, you're going to hear the excitement on the other team because they're doing all the action.
Yeah, exactly.
You know, that's the funny part. But it's just, to me, listening to those guys last night, they didn't have much homerism. They obviously knew more about West Virginia, as they should.
Yeah.
Than Mahoning Valley. But, you know, when you go to the games, what I was so excited, and I texted you about it, I said, Ron, what people don't understand is what they're getting with your broadcast. And that's why I'm so excited about this is you're bringing not only your experience, but you're bringing what we do at YSN into the real. And we had a ton of people listen last night, which I'm excited about because you're going to have a ton of people listening from all over the country.
Well, I've already told Anthony, the guy that works over at Eastwood Field. I said, look, I've done this from day one. I'm going to give my email address out, and anyone that wants to ask any questions, comments during the game, we'll read comments on the air. As long as they're clean, and I don't go Ron Burgundy and read the script and don't prepare it first and drop an F-bomb on the air, which I won't do. We're going to read every comment as long as it's not a disrespectful comment or anything. Yeah, I'm going to read my comments because that's part of that's just listening or getting feedback from people that are listening to the broadcast and getting them engaged in the broadcast is one of my favorite things to do.
So you're talking about like Ask the Booth and stuff like that?
Oh, God, yeah. It's just like, I'm going to twice a night to say, hey, this is Ron Potesta at gmail.com. If you've got anything you want to talk about with the game, anything as far as the league, or as far as the game is concerned, hit me up on the email. Anything you want to talk about.
We might want to get you a different email, just because somebody might probably just sign you up for 30 different things on the email.
That's all right. I can always delete it. I'm going to be like the one Hardy kid in professional wrestling. Delete! Delete!
Oh, boy. Oh, we have gone down a path, my friend.
Lordy.
But we had some good games last night.
You brought up something yesterday in terms of coaches that decided to do a little rolling of the dice. South Range rolled the dice yesterday and came up with a very nice 7, where they got some good news. Yeah, I was expecting Mikos to pitch this game. I was all expecting that. They decided, no, we'll keep our ace for the. That's a gamble. I mean, that's a big gamble, because if it doesn't turn out,
well, that's the same with Lane Rhodes yesterday. We talked about.
Yeah, exactly. If it doesn't turn out, you're sitting back with egg on your face, going, "We just got eliminated, and I didn't even pitch my best pitcher."
But instead, Jimmy Hannick looks like a
genius now. I got to be honest. I wouldn't have the stones to do it, because if this backfires, no offense to any coach, but if that backfires, boy, is your job on the line. Or people are going to look at you and say, do we really have the right guy for this job? Because that's a huge gamble.
Yeah, I mean, no disrespect to Crestviews program, but I think South Range is well aware of who they are. And nobody puts in more time than Jim Hannick is to looking at numbers and film and stuff like that. He felt very confident. Billy Skirpak is a stud.
He's good.
And he's probably, if you don't have Brandon Mikos and you don't have some of the arms that South Range does, he's probably an ace on any other team
And I think that's one of the reasons why South Range will make a very deep run in this tournament. I don't know if they win a state championship, but
Well, let me give you a
they
little.
got a shot.
This is interesting because I think this could set up Brandon Miko's first Cardinal Mooney, which is where he used to pitch for. So there's that. With that, and that is a very and listen, Mooney put up what 8 last night.
They put up 11 or
11?
12 last night. They put up 12
12?
against Garfield.
So they're hitting the ball.
Yeah, they're playing well.
And Mikos has yet to give up a run, at least that I know of.
Yeah.
And he's pitching lights out. This is something that it's fun, right? It's very fun from the standpoint of seeing a young man go up against his former teammates, and there's no beef there. They all still love each other, especially in the baseball world. There's never any guys that typically hate each other for stuff like that. But it's very intriguing from the storyline standpoint.
Oh, absolutely. But, Struthers, the district winner will play the Creston district winner. The Niles district winner plays the Copley district winner. I guess this is the part of the program where we tell everyone what's going on. Canton Central Catholic, the 1 seed, is in the district championship game in Creston. They mercy ruled. Let me do some arithmetic here. They mercy ruled Sullivan Black River in 5 innings. And they will play Elyria Catholic, who shut out Kirtland. So it's the 1 against the 3. That's in the Creston district. The winner of the Struthers district will play the winner of the Creston district.
So you got a winner.
So the winner of Mooney Berkshire, which is going to be a tough game for Mooney because Berkshire's we found out unfortunately last night with Springfield losing. This Burton team is pretty good. The winner of Mooney Burton Berkshire gets the winner of Canton Central Catholic and Elyria Catholic. Could be setting up an all-parochial regional semifinal. That could be fun. And then the Niles winner gets the Copley winner. The Copley winner, Waynedale, got past Wellington. They're the 2 seed, and they will be taking on the 5 seed Gates Mills Academy, who knocked off Gates Mills Hawken in the Snooty Bowl.
So it would be, I heard that the other day. That made me cringe.
Yeah.
I guess we're not getting any of those schools.
Well, I'm just saying that it as kind of something fun because they're both very high rent district schools.
What you're saying is essentially that Mooney potentially could be Mooney and South Range in the regional championship.
Could be.
How fun would that be?
It would be much
For a trip to state?
Much on the lines of South Range and Ursuline in softball for a regional championship,
Which
would be phenomenal.
I can't wait. I hope
I
it
think
happens.
it would be phenomenal. I've been telling people about Canfield's plight and Canfield's path to the state tournament. There's a couple of teams. They've already played Salem, and Salem gave them a pretty decent game, but Canfield's got to worry about getting out of the districts because that Howland team, they played Canfield really good for 2 games. They played them really tough. Now, unfortunately, they don't have to play Howland because Canton South decided to knock them off last night. So there's a nice little. I don't know if it's a break. Canton South comes from that really good league that
EBC.
they're in. But the way Canfield destroyed Marlington,
I think this is the last year for Canton South and EBC.
Yes, it is.
So
yes, it is.
It's going to be interesting. I mean, Canton South is a good team, and I don't want to be that guy, but I mean, apparently yesterday I became that guy that is a Canfield homer, even though I live here in East Palestine, which is 2 different worlds. But Canfield's I still don't think they've played their best baseball.
No.
And that's a dangerous thing to talk about.
Yeah, their pitching is, oh, God.
I think if I had to guess, Chardon is going to be the best test for Salem tomorrow. If Salem, or when Salem gets past Chardon, I want to see the Canfield game.
Yeah, Canfield-Salem would be the regional semifinals, but there is a team in the opposite bracket in Division II that no one has seen or very few people have seen outside this area. I'm going to tell you right now, Chagrin Falls is a oh God, are they a good team?
But are they better than Canfield?
They can give Canfield all they can want.
This is what I heard whenever South Range made that run was, everybody's just waiting for another shoe to drop. Everybody's
No.
Listen, you talk about the kids that aren't necessarily the storyline night after night. You talked about AJ Havrilla. AJ Havrilla is your stud on any other team.
I agree.
He's filled with studs on that Canfield team. Now they don't back down from anybody.
No,
I've never seen this before.
Yeah.
I mean, sorry about that. I've never seen this before with any other team other than that South Range State Championship team. And I will add to it, this Salem team has some swagger on them too.
Yes, they do.
And they are dripping with it the same way that Canfield is.
Yeah.
So that's why it's funny for me it's apples to apples. And these two teams collided the first game of the season, and Lane Rhodes held Canfield to one hit before he got pulled, and then the wheels kind of fell off for Salem.
Yeah. And you know that nobody decided to push the envelope with the 125 pitches in game number 1.
No.
That's going to change.
Oh, yeah.
So imagine, if you will, the same scenario where, and it could be Gerdick, it could be Petro, it could be whoever, throwing goose eggs for Canfield, and Salem throwing goose eggs. And much like yesterday's game with Berkshire and Springfield, both of these kids empty their tank and go 125 before they're pulled out of the game, state mandated. That's baseball at its absolute best. If you have two kids that know what they're doing, they're not walking a lot of folks, they're not putting a lot of traffic on the base paths, you'll get tested. You will get tested.
The only advantage I think that Canfield has over Salem right now, and I don't want to take anything away from Gavin Wilms or necessarily Brock Young or any of the pitchers other than Lane Rhodes, is from this moment forward what you're getting.
Well,
like there's no hiding Lane Rhodes anymore. Like you can't hide him in the next round. Like tomorrow, Lane Rhodes is pitching to the point where after the game he goes, wait till they see me on Wednesday. Like, he is amped up, just sent me a text message about how fired up he is.
Yeah.
And Canfield can do the old, guessing who you're going to see.
Sure.
Are you going to see Beitelshees? Are you going to see Petro? Are you going to see Gerdick? Are you going to see, who are you going to see coming out of there? They still have Nate Shaw, who has pitched very rarely and is starting to get his heat back. Canfield has that advantage where you don't know. You're playing the unknown, where I'm guessing Chagrin Falls probably has a stud, and usually it's a 1 and a 2, right?
Yeah.
Canfield has 1, 1A, 1B, 2.
Yeah. And I think that's where Canfield is probably going to have the advantage. But Chagrin Falls has more than 2 pitchers, and they can swing the sticks.
How do you know about Chagrin Falls?
I've got people that have seen this team play, and they've told me some, and I trust these kids. They've told me some really good things about this team. This team's no joke. Now, I think Canfield's going to beat them, and I think Canfield would beat them if they play each other in the regional finals. But that's the team. If you get past, and I'm envisioning Salem getting past Chardon tomorrow. If you're Canfield and you get past Salem, and then you get past Chagrin Falls, crown them. Just crown them.
What's the?
Because this will be this will be the best region. For me.
And see, that's the interesting part is that's I've got no want to sit there and go crown them, because we see it every year with one of our teams is they're supposed to be the best, and then some team comes out of nowhere. But I will say this, the difference between Canfield and some of the kids around this area is they've played on these championship teams that go to wherever and play Japan.
Yeah.
And you look at the Havrilla boys, and you look at some of these kids from Canfield, they have been bred to play baseball.
2 years ago, when we were, I think I was still over at doing terrestrial radio, and I was doing just going to a lot of B League games, and I noticed kids were from Canfield this, Canfield that, and I even said on the show when Steve and I would be doing some baseball talk, these people in Canfield are going to be going absolutely nuts in a couple of years, because oh my God, they're going to be clamoring for state titles and on a state title run, much like Champion did in their softball 4-year run, which should have been a 4-year run. it's the same thing with Canfield. And I got news for people. You still haven't seen the best of what they have
Or Boardman.
in certain spots.
I mean, there was a couple years ago. Yeah, it was a couple years ago. You were calling me for updates for the Boardman 11U and
Yeah.
the Boardman 12U.
Yeah,
and that's
and Boardman is on the horizon of being a really dangerous program. Now, it's Division I, Division II. Division I's a little bit different because, oh man, that's a tough nut to crack.
But this is the
in
same
D1.
team that beat. What is the name? They're from the Cincinnati area, I think. They always win the Little League. They always go to Little League World
Oh
Series.
yeah, I know who
can't
you're
remember.
talking about. And
forgive me.
they crushed them.
Killed them.
Yeah,
And like to the point where I was sitting there, I was set up because I remember being in center field and like we're gonna go all day.
yeah.
Because they're gonna beat us the first one, and then we're gonna beat them the second one. One of those things. Because I think the coach reserved his guy to throw in game 2, Colin Recitar, who is now I think 13.
Yeah.
That's a name you're gonna want to know.
And they're in junior high, and
Yeah.
that's like,
And-
that storm is about to come.
Some of these names, and we just the 12Us that we chased down to New Albany a few years ago are now in the B League,
Yeah.
and they're doing 14U, and you're saying these names like, oh my gosh, like you think of them as that little kid at 12U that, damn it, I can't remember the name of that town.
That Boardman team a couple of years ago came so close to being just the second team from our area to go to Williamsport.
The 12U.
Yeah,
Yeah, that was
that was a couple of years ago.
But listen, I learned something down there, and that is we can compete with anybody.
oh yeah,
But these community balls, like community, like Sandlot, you watch that Little League World Series, like until you see it live,
Oh.
some of these teams competing for it, come on, like. I know there's room for improvement from 12U, and kids always say, well, if you're not good, or coaches will say, if you're not this good at 12, it ain't happening. But there's so much room for growth and improvement. But let me tell you something. There's a reason these kids that go to the Little League World Series end up in the pros, like Todd Frazier,
Yeah.
and guys like that, because they are like just freaks, and they're freaks when they're 12 too, or 11 or whatever that is. We have some of them in this area.
Yeah.
I'll never forget as long as I live that game that Canfield played against Boardman, and Mason Naraki hit a walk-off grand slam. It was 0-0 the entire way, and Naraki hit a walk-off granny, and we'll have it. It's actually hanging. A picture's hanging in our studios here. He still talks about that. His parents still talk about it to this day, and he is getting better and better and better. That Canfield team was loaded. They remember that too.
sure.
So moving forward, the Canfield-Boardman matchup in baseball is going to be so fun to watch because we have it documented when they were 11 years old,
Yeah.
what it looked like. So imagine what it's going to look like at 18.
And the 6 years down the road, let's see what it looks like. I've warned people a couple of years ago, Canfield was going to be making a really healthy run, not just 1 year, but multiple years. It's going to happen. And Boardman's not too far behind them.
No.
And that's going to happen too.
I can't wait. It's really is my favorite time of year.
I love it. I absolutely love it. And now that you have this league, this league can boy, if it's marketed correctly, and I trust Major League Baseball as far as I can throw Rob Manfred. But if they can market this league, holy crap, can this be fun?
Yeah.
This could be a blast.
I just want to see some of the kids that we grew up watching on YSN. I want to see them in Scrappers uniforms. That's all.
Well,
I
I mean, look, if we're not going to see him in a Scrappers uniform, we're pretty much going to be seeing him in a YSU uniform because Bertolini's
planting his flag.
he's done a Jim Trussell. He's planted the flag, drew a 100-mile radius around the state of Youngstown, and said, "Come one, come all."
And that's good to see. I mean, we have some talent around here, and you'd like to keep it. And Danny's a big believer in everybody. And you know what sucks, Ron? And I hate to get on a tangent here, but like everybody thinks because the coach doesn't call or the coach doesn't mean he's not watching. Like, I know for a fact that Danny and his entire staff utilize our services
Absolutely they do.
all the time.
Absolutely they do.
All the time.
Yeah.
And, you know, let's just put this out there. Not everybody is a D1 athlete. And that's okay. That's all right.
Yeah, this just in.
Yeah, but like, the education's the biggest foundation of it. And Danny's not going to, I hope he would back me up in saying this because we've had these conversations. He's not going to go after a kid that's a 2.1 GPA.
No, and I've told people this. Look, I mean, it's number one, before the multi-sport athlete, before the I run a 40 in whatever time, before the I can hit a ball 500 feet, throw 99 miles an hour, before all of that, if you don't have your grades to the point where they're solid, people are going to look at you and go, yeah.
The first question out of every coach's mouth on the recruiting trail, what are his grades like?
Yep.
You know what the second question is, usually? What are his parents like?
Yep.
Or what are her parents like?
What is he like, or what is she like?
Because that's the biggest thing is parents have a tendency to be problems in situations.
Absolutely.
Parents need to realize when they let their baby go, when he or she flies the coop, that's it. There's no more, calling coach and screaming at him about playing time or stuff like that. Coaches don't want that headache. They got enough to deal with.
Listen, I would even say before they go to college, and this is an editorial comment, but I'll say it. Stop the nonsense even when the kid's in high school. Look, you're not the coach. Shut your freaking mouth. Sit down. Cheer for your team. Cheer for your kid. But don't even think about going after the coach, because the coach is the coach. You're the parent. When this kid's on the basketball floor, he ain't your damn kid. He's the coach's kid. When the player leaves the court, then he's your kid or she's your kid. Stop the nonsense. Or if I had a dime for every time I heard a parent bitch and moan about, well, my kid's not getting any playing time. Are you at practice? Do you know if your kid screws around in practice or doesn't give 100%? There's a reason why your kid's not playing. It's not because the coach hates your kid. It's probably because your kid's a screw-up in practice.
I mean, that's a little bit harsh. But I would say that, a lot of it comes with the territory. What kind of attitude does your kid have? What kind of effort does your kid give?
There you go.
It doesn't necessarily mean they're screwing off. It's are they running? Are they looking at the playbook? Are they putting in extra time? They have, I mean, for instance, one team I know, they have an ability to see how much film they watch.
Yep.
And when a coach goes in and says, okay, the most film we've watched is this guy, and it's 15 minutes, how much do you really want to play? How much do you really want to give? Like, sacrifice is a big thing with any team sport. But if you're only watching 15 minutes of film, and you're supposed to watch a minimum of an hour and a half during the week, do you really want it? And that's what parents don't get. Parents, at this point, my kid goes this, and seniors are the worst. I'm going to be dead honest with you. Seniors are the worst.
But because they're seniors, they should play.
The biggest, and people give me, like we released an all-star team.
Yep.
Well, all YSN team, right?
Yep.
And we're getting, which I appreciate. Trust me, I like critical feedback. I love being critiqued. But listen, just because your kid's a senior does not mean he or she is entitled to an all-star team.
Exactly.
That's why we have freshmen, sophomore, juniors. Listen, if a freshman has the best year of their life as a freshman and they break their leg as a sophomore and they never play the game again, who am I to take that year away from them?
Exactly.
From being a standout?
And this isn't. And the other thing is, all-star teams should not be a career accumulation. It should be a one-year thing.
If
you have a career that's accumulated, you're going to get paid off at some point. But it should never be, well, we're giving this because you're had an accumulation of 4 great years and you're a senior and we have to. No, no.
Like the MVP, if it's a senior and it's deserving, that's great. But so often in times I'll go and they'll say, well, the MVP is this person. And you get so many eyes looking around the room. And listen, you don't do it for the trophies necessarily, the individual rewards. You do it for the team rewards, which is district, regional, state championships, conference championships, whatever they call them, league championships. But let me get the senior side of things. Just because you're 17, 18 years old, whatever you are when you graduate, does not entitle you to an award.
Exactly.
It doesn't. And that's what's crazy. Because parents think that this is their last chance. They need to have this. That's not the way it works. And if you're teaching your kid that, then you're not teaching them the way that life is going to hit them in the face 6 months after that.
Yeah. When the kid's 18 and they go from high school to trade college, boy, is that
Or life.
or life. That's a
You walk out of those doors.
yeah. You get a heavy dose of reality slapped upside your head, and you find out real quick that if your parents didn't give you a harsh lesson or two,
Or coaches.
you find out that life isn't exactly what you think it is.
No.
Because you were coddled or because you were sheltered. Yeah, that's a big part of it.
When you mess up,
Yeah.
your boss yells at you.
Exactly.
When I mess up, I get yelled at. When it's a
Mrs. DJ yells at you.
always, always. It's one of those things though, Ron. With this time of year, I always just let kids know, like, remember, this year there's such a thing as senioritis, but as soon as that kind of wears off, like, you get punched. And you go from a senior to a freshman. You're right back at the bottom of that
That's
ladder.
it.
And it's crazy that, and I get it. You want to squeeze every bit of the juice out of the lemon that you can your senior year if you're a parent, because especially if it's your youngest, but relax on the award stuff. Like,
Yeah.
relax, because awards should be earned and not given.
One of the other things before we take a long overdue break.
Sorry.
I had a couple of basketball coaches, and when I love talking with coaches just to hear their philosophies and whatnot. We had a couple of basketball coaches that said that they would purposely have the camera guy film practice with the camera directly on all of the players, especially those that were not taking part in the play. So you on basketball, you have 5-on-5. Well, naturally, with 20 kids in a basketball program, you'll have 10 kids sitting out. And the coaches will go through that film and figure out how many of those 10 kids truly want to be there based upon body language,
Yep.
which is to me probably the second most important thing right after grades. When a college coach is looking at someone or a scout is looking at someone, okay, or not necessarily a scout, a college coach, all right, what is their grades like? Okay, what is this person's body language like? 2A. What are their parents like? 2B. What is this person like away from the field? 2C. All of that intertwined together is those two things.
It's your recruitment DNA.
Yeah, that's going to be where you are. I remember a story, can't give the kid's name out, but I remember a story where I went and saw a kid play. It was like it was his sophomore year, and he had a meltdown during the game. He had a meltdown, and I was like, looked, and I was okay, So after the game was over, nobody said anything to him, so I said, "Come here. How bad do you want to play in college?" "Oh, real bad, real bad." "Well, let me give you a hint of what would have happened. If a college coach had been in this particular venue and saw you act like a friggin' moron, your college career is over
Yep.
before it even started." That coach would have never wanted any part of you because of what you just did. They would have sat back and said, "Well, okay, that kid's out.
Yeah.
I'm done with him." I said, "You can't do that." I said, "You got to grow up.
Yeah.
On the field, you got to be better than that on the court, on the field, on everything." Never saw another peep from that person ever
It's
again.
tough. I mean, that's tough for a 14, 15-year-old to grasp, though. You know what I mean?
Oh, it is
For 17, 18, that's
it
that's
is.
expected. But that's why you're underclassmen and then you're
Yeah,
senior.
It is, but it's a life lesson. And I try to tell as many kids, if I see kids acting up, what's your long-term goal? Do you want to be a professional player? I got news for you. I've seen this. I've seen kids literally get thrown off of a bus and told, "You're done. That's it." We had a kid, I think it was in the Mariner system. did something completely outrageous during the game. I even shit on him during the game. I normally don't do that, but I went off on this kid. Our bus driver even looked at him and said, "What the hell is wrong with you? Why would you do something like that?" He got released 2 days later. It's just that's just a great example of life. If you do something completely stupid, you might get a second chance in life, but at that moment, if you do something completely stupid, you're not bulletproof. This kid was a pretty decent prospect, and the Mariners said,
Pass.
"Not on our watch.
Yeah.
You're out of here. You're done."
Nobody's bigger than the team.
That's it.
Ever.
And I remember
Except Manny Ramirez.
Manny could do just about anything he wanted to, but I remember Brandon Morrow had a nice career in Major League Baseball. First week, we were in Jacksonville, Florida. Jacksonville, Florida is a 12-hour bus ride from Jacksonville, Florida to Jackson, Tennessee. 12-hour bus ride. We only went there one time. First weekend of the season. So we get done with a 5-game series, and Brandon had pitched pretty decently, but he gave up. I think he got the loss the last game of the season. He was pissed. And he comes on the bus, and we're about a half hour down the road, and I hear this commotion in the back, and I'm looking at the manager, and the manager's like, just going to let it fester for a little bit, and then we'll say something. And then it gets a little bit louder, and I look back at the manager, and he goes, no. He says, we'll see if someone polices this or not. It didn't happen. Long story short, the guy, he while the bus driver's doing his thing, the manager stands up and says, I don't want to hear any more from anybody. And the bus started getting a little quiet, and then they started acting up again. I looked over and I said, "Can I do something?" He goes, "Yeah." I stood up and I said, "Listen," and I have to clean this up. I said, "Listen, if you guys really hate 12-hour bus trips so much, bleeping pitch like you bleeping want to bleeping leave this bleeping area, you bleeping a-holes." And the manager looked at me. I said, "Pretty much what you wanted to say?" He goes, "Yeah, you covered it." That was it.
The announcer says this.
The announcer said this. They were like, "Holy crap." And it was like, hey, I had been in it for 9 or 10 years at that point. I was like, listen, if you're this pissed off about life that you're gonna be venting because of a bus trip, then get your stuff together where you're going to be better than this league so you can go to AAA where they fly for the most part. Otherwise, shut the hell up and just enjoy what you have right now, because this is better than working for a living and not chasing your dream.
I would have taped you to a goalpost.
Well, I mean, look,
I would have. If an announcer told me that, and I live as an announcer now. If somebody would have said that to me as a player, I would have been like, okay, that guy, we're getting him tonight.
No, but everyone understood that was the truth, and you don't like hearing it from someone outside of baseball, but it's the truth.
Yeah,
in life in general, if you don't like something, do something. Do your job so well that you're going to go somewhere else, somewhere higher up the food chain. In life. Stop moaning and groaning about stuff. You get a 12-hour ride. Okay, we all have a 12-hour ride. I mean, I'm not going to listen to you complain about it. I've done this 12-hour ride for 6 years. I would love to be in AAA or the major leagues, but
baseball.
It is what it is. You're playing baseball, for God's sake.
That's why I don't understand it. My wife and I had this conversation the other day. I said, listen, if let's say we had a little boy and he was going to get drafted, and it was, well, only if it's 500,000 or $1 million, I would have said, listen, do you love baseball? Do you love playing baseball? Go play baseball. Don't worry about the money. The money will be there if you're good enough. If not, you can always go back to college. Everybody's worried about, what am I getting paid for this? Listen, follow your passions, and the money will follow you.
Well, I mean, look, if kid has some good grades and he's good enough to go to college, and we'll use this year. let's say he's a 15th round draft pick this year. Can you gamble on yourself, play 2 years of college, assuming you get redshirted, or 3 years of college, and then you turn around, play in this league, and get yourself a 3rd or 4th round draft pick where the money is about a good 100,000 plus better as far as signing bonus? All right. That's, I mean, if it's a 15th round pick and you're getting, say, $50,000 signing bonus.
Is $50,000 enough to get you through school?
It's $50,000. Okay. For me, I'd have taken the $50,000 and I would play minor league baseball, and I would, now you're talking about what would an 18-year-old kid or 19-year-old kid do other than, there's a difference between what would a 19-year-old Ron do and what would the present Ron do. Present Ron would have said, give me the $50,000, I'm going to invest it, and I'll play baseball and eat peanut butter sandwiches and whatnot, and I'll do my thing.
Like, what do you think college is? Like, that's my thing. It's like everybody talks about this. Like, well, I'll go to college, and like you go to college, you're still eating peanut butter sandwiches.
Sure,
in a lot of cases.
But college is also an opportunity for you to get a better, more maturity of you, and you can get your stuff a little bit better, where you don't have to be pay or you don't have to get a extraordinarily small paycheck to do anything. Hopefully you're getting a pretty nice sized scholarship. I know that most kids are not getting a full ride scholarship in baseball, which is wrong, but neither here nor there. College is a great tool, especially if you think that you can improve your game in those 3 years to where you're draft eligible and you're a better player, where your draft status can go from, and I'll use arbitrary numbers, 15th round to 5th round. That's a lot of money. That's a good chunk of change that you just acquired.
Sure. But what isn't the other side of that conversation? You're in an organization of some sort. You have the ability to use whatever resources they have available.
Absolutely.
To you.
And you also have the backside of the argument of, okay, if I'm 18 years old and I'm out of high school and I'm drafted and I get a $50,000 signing bonus and I have the $50,000, let's say I buy a car and the rest of it is put away in the bank somewhere, and I'm going to be basically playing baseball for a living and toiling in the minor leagues. Well, those 3 years, let's say that your 3 years you become a Mike Trout. And Mike Trout got to the major leagues, and Derek Jeter and Miguel Cabrera all got to the major leagues when they were 19 years of age. That's a year and change
those guys get drafted in the first round. If we're talking 15th round, like I'm talking, if I get drafted.
Well, Albert Pujols. Pujols was drafted in the 13th round, and he spent 2 years in the minor leagues and was in the major leagues and went off for,
then you
for
have
a 10-year period.
Jose Altuves, which you don't even get looked at, and then you come in, you go up the system. I mean, the thing with me is, if you have a crack in that door, kick it down.
Yeah, I agree.
This is like, to me, it's, and again, there's going to be kids that for good reason go to college, but they were never getting drafted out of high school. You know what I mean? So a lot of these kids that we talk to are not getting drafted out of high school. So if somebody asks you, if somebody walks up to you and says, listen, I'd love for you to be part of this MLB draft league, or we think we're going to draft you, but it's going to be the 36th round. Okay, I'm in. Because at the end of the day, you can get drafted out of college and you have a valid point. However, I'm rolling the dice on me. Like, people don't always look at the other side of the conversation. Like, in college, you're still eating like crap. You're still eating,
agreed.
You're still
agreed.
Like, you're not going to get $50,000 working in college if you're playing a sport.
Agreed.
So
agreed.
From that standpoint, like, I'm going and I'm going to do what I want to do. Now, it has to be what you want to do. If you kind of want to do it, go to college.
Yeah.
Figure it out, and then. But if baseball or whatever that sport is your passion,
I did it.
Go for it.
I did it. So
go for it.
I did it, and I would have done it at an earlier age had I figured it out, but I didn't. But at 34, I was good enough to where they said, "Okay, come on, let's see what you got," and I did as a broadcaster. So it's, but I would tell people you better have a plan B. Now, plan B is the argument of, okay, if you go to college, that could be part of plan B. Get 3 or 4 years of college and get your degree, and then if you're good enough, go into minor league baseball and you have a degree to fall back on. But to your point, if you're in high school and you are brought into minor league baseball from high school, if you are good enough and lucky enough, and there's luck involved in this, and your 4 years playing pro ball turns into I'm in AAA ball, or I'm very close to getting a spring training invite and getting a cup of coffee in September and being on the 40-man roster. Okay, world just got a whole lot better for you. But if things don't work out, to your point, okay, if your career fizzles out, injury or otherwise, by the time you're 21 or 22, that doesn't mean your life is over. You take the $50,000 bonus or whatever small bonus you were given and invest that into a college degree, or something that has not been mentioned for the longest time, which should be, get into a trade school and be an electrician, be a plumber, be something of that nature, or go into the service. But it's the life doesn't end when your dreams come to an end.
Well, no, and you're allowed to have more than one dream
Exactly.
in your life. That's
Exactly.
That's
You
what
can
people don't
detour
realize.
it.
Like, I wanted to be a professional baseball player. Guess what? I somebody else had other plans for me.
Exactly.
So
it's a detour.
Yeah, so you go, okay, well, what did I learn from what I wanted to do to where I get now? And then that's what kids, they're so singular focused because, and I talked about it today, I do the Victory Lap thing on my personal Facebook page, but we're so afraid of competition now because everything is collaboration, everything is kumbaya, and like we have to, no. Competition is the very foundation of where we started. Why we still exist is because we competed for our life way back when.
Sure.
It's why America exists.
Exactly.
Number one, but you know,
entrepreneurs are they're a breed apart from folks. They took a chance.
It's a sport. To me, it's the greatest sport. Is being an entrepreneur and obviously being in business is. There is a lot that goes into it behind the scenes that nobody knows about,
Sure.
that nobody talks about. The same way with athletes. Like, you can sit here all day. You and I can sit here and talk about athletes all day. We have no clue what goes on behind the scenes. They could be you can go in an 0 for 20 slump and not realize that, well, that person's mom has an issue. They have cancer. Okay?
Mm-hmm.
There's a lot of stuff that happens that we don't necessarily rip the Band-Aid off.
I'm gonna give perhaps the most tragic story of a Pirate prospect, and that was Jose Tabata. Mm-hmm. Jose Tabata was acquired by the Yankees. Jose Tabata's wife was psychotic, and I'm using that term very loosely. This girl was off the rails crazy to the point where she kidnapped a child and pawned it off as her own, with Jose being the father. And they, when they found out about this, Jose was in AA ball playing for Altoona early in the year. His wife gets arrested. She gets charged with kidnapping. They throw her in jail, and from jail, she's writing Jose and saying, "Take care of our kid," the whole 9 yards. We had to throw those letters out so he wouldn't grab those to even buy into the whole crazy story. I mean, you talk about screwing a person up.
Listen, Tabata was crazy too.
He was
dude
different.
had lips on his neck.
He was different. But he went off the edge because of that. There's another kid in the Mets organization. And he got into the Mariners organization, but was never the same with this. He was a 16-year-old Jackson Milian, just a kid from Venezuela that was supposed to be. He was supposed to be a really, really, really superstar, major league cannot miss prospect. He's in the bus, driving in the back of the bus, and his mom and dad are driving behind him, and he sees his mom and dad die in a head-on collision with a semi-truck. Done.
Yeah,
Done.
that'll do it.
He's done. And he never got over it. It's just that.
Listen, tragedy strikes everybody, but like to hold. Yes, do we hold professional athletes more accountable than others? Probably.
Yeah,
But we also have to understand they're human beings.
absolutely.
And that's like, you can talk about LeBron. I do all the time. Like, the guy has completely changed from being
Well,
16-year-old LeBron to 36-year-old LeBron.
he's got a platform now, and he thinks that his words
They carry weight.
they carry weight because he's
Unfortunately for
LeBron.
him, he's found out both sides of that.
Well, yeah, there's a
Many
reason.
times.
There's a reason why, and Michael is Michael for a lot of reasons, but the biggest for me was Michael was never one to push an envelope. Nike. He had a great relationship and still does with Nike, and a lot of his contemporaries were kind of mad at him because he wouldn't go to some of those causes for his own people. To which Michael said, "Hey, look, I'm not gonna crap on Republicans because Republicans buy sneakers too." He got it. He understood that. Bill Russell and Muhammad Ali and Jim Brown lived in an era where it was explosive. The 60s were violent. The 60s were horrible. And they were part of the fabric of being caught up in a time period where they were outspoken about stuff, and their careers, especially Ali's career, suffered because of it. LeBron hasn't gotten that. He hasn't understood the fact that, okay, you can be critical, but you shouldn't be all in 24/7. You need to back away. And
LeBron's still the guy that when you tell him not to do something, he doubles down. He doubles down. And that, you learn that with kids is, okay, you tell them not to do something, they're going to wait and they're going to double down on you at some point.
Yeah.
So you have to wait for that. Punishment has to fit the crime, but there's nobody to punish LeBron. What do you think, the NBA is going to step in and be like, you can't say anything?
No, they
can't.
No, they can't.
Because that's the biggest mouthpiece they have. And if LeBron walks away from the NBA and he starts his own, I mean, we saw this with wrestling. If Jericho walks away from the WWE and doesn't go in AEW, AEW's got nothing. They don't have that guy.
AEW is still a bad product, though.
I think it's a great product.
I mean, it's.
But if LeBron walked away from the NBA and said, "Hey, I'm going to start a new basketball league," watch how many follow him. Advertisements, the players. The NBA would be crippled.
I don't think as many players would go.
I disagree.
Follow him because,
I disagree.
and I would give example A, B, C, D, E, F, G. All of his years in Cleveland, where he begged kids to
They weren't coming to Cleveland.
come to Cleveland with him.
It wasn't LeBron. It was Cleveland.
Well, it was Cleveland.
If you
but
had
it
the choice to go to Cleveland or Miami, which would you do?
well, I'd go to Miami in a heartbeat because of the weather, but
And the fact that they're not taxing your check.
and that's another part of it.
Okay,
which Miami and
If you could go to Cleveland or Los Angeles, which one would you rather live in?
I would probably rather live in Cleveland because LA is a cesspool of garbage right now. Weather-wise, I would take LA in a heartbeat because the weather's beautiful out there.
Like, you notice that LeBron never ended up in Milwaukee.
No.
LeBron never ended up
Well,
in
I mean, yeah, exactly.
Chicago.
Exactly. I mean, he understands that.
You imagine what happens if LeBron steps foot in Chicago?
He understands that you can't go to Chicago because you think the comparisons now are
Go to New York.
Harsh.
Why does he never end up in New York?
New York or LA. Which one do you want?
Cold weather. It's cold weather. Like, people
Yeah.
don't want to go to New York. Like, they don't. Not in the wintertime. Same way as Cleveland. God bless them for winning the championship.
Cleveland is cold in the wintertime.
They're
Yeah.
not gonna go play in Cleveland.
But
because
New York is a little different. New York is. I said this on social media. Madison Square Garden is the mecca. It's the place. That's people don't understand. New York City is all about basketball. It's always been a basketball city. It's a damn shame that the Knicks have been so god awful through all the years, but Madison Square Garden is the place. It's so incredible. The history in that building is it would be magical. But LeBron knew this ownership group, this whole thing. The Lakers have won buku championships. They're a franchise other than the Celtics. They're the greatest franchise in the NBA.
There's no pressure.
Knicks have won 2 world championships. They've been mismanaged for years. Yes, it would be great to play 41 games at Madison Square Garden.
Did you notice that when LeBron went to Los Angeles, a lot more of the films and things like that have come out featuring LeBron James?
Oh, of course. And there's a reason why he went to L.A. And there's a reason why when his career is over, he's going to stay in L.A. He's all about that.
LeBron
the
James,
Hollywood product.
Well, no, he's coming back to Akron. That's what he's going to do.
Well, I mean, he could buy the Cavaliers, but he ain't gonna step foot in this area as a citizen anymore. He's California
people
kid
still
now.
people still believe he's coming back to save the area, and he's not.
No, he's not coming back here.
He grew up. He went away twice, and
Yeah.
I'm still agitated by Cleveland fans. Myself, I hated him after the second time. First one, I was like, you know what?
I didn't really
Why? 'Cause you got
think
your
all that much
championship.
about the first time. I mean, okay, you did it in a classless manner, but that was more on ESPN because they televised this
We
crap.
did it for the kids.
Yeah, well, you did it for the kids. Get out of here with that crap. You did it for the
Boys
kids.
and girls,
Yeah.
listen. If
Yeah.
you were going to do that, you could have had a bake sale. You could have had anything else.
Exactly.
You could have had LeBron sign, 50 different autographs and sold them for $1 billion a
Yeah.
piece.
The second time, I was like, you know what? He did exactly what he said he was going to
No,
do.
screw that guy.
You win a championship, get out. Okay, that's fine. And I said this when I was on the air. Look, the first time the Cavaliers play the Lakers, I hope it's opening night. Hope it's opening night. Cavaliers play the Lakers, Quicken Loans Arena, retire his jersey, do the little video montage, the whole 9 yards, and then sit back and say, get your ass out of this arena. You're done. We're done with you. You're done with us. We've hung your you hung your jersey in the rafters. We've given you your nice little video tribute. Now get the hell out of this town because you're not one of us. You left the second time. Okay, we love you, but see ya.
You know the thing I hate, I shouldn't say hate, that I dislike most about LeBron James is he's always a victim. He's always a victim. If somebody's picking on me, people don't like me. He leaves Cleveland because he can't win a championship anymore, right?
Well, he leaves Cleveland because he won his championship, and now he can leave and go in peace.
Then why didn't he leave the year after the championship?
He was still under contract. He was
Did he
under
just have a
contract for
1 year?
2.
I thought
No,
it was
he had a
year-to-year.
3-year deal. He was still under
I
contract.
thought he was year to year.
He was still under contract. So it was.
So that's shot. But I swore he was year to year.
No, he had signed a 2-year with a one year option. I think it was a team option. They finally had him. They finally got him to do a multi-year deal. But I mean, I got no problems with him leaving him. He's a free agent. I mean, you want to leave? Go leave. That's
Twice.
fine. That's fine. Do your thing. I mean, you gave us the championship. I got no problems with. I got more of a problem with Kyrie Irving than I do LeBron James. And I don't have much of a problem with Kyrie anymore because Kyrie finally grew up and played a game in Cleveland after leaving Cleveland.
Kyrie won the championship.
He
won the
he was part of it. Yeah,
He won
did.
the championship.
He was part of it. I mean, J.R. Smith was a big contributor in Game 7 because without his
But you know what, J.R. Smith, what are you going to remember about J.R. Smith most? That championship or the year after?
I'm pretty sure I'm going to be remembering the soup being thrown at the coach.
This thing.
But Game 7, without his early third quarter explosion, Cavs aren't
Yeah, but
going
Kyrie
anywhere.
had the shot.
No, he did, but that shot doesn't happen unless they stay in the game. And JR, with his hot third quarter, kept the Cavs in that game. Look, Kyrie Irving's shot would have been completely an afterthought had Kevin Love not actually played defense. I know defense and Kevin Love
Well, let
in
me
the
ask you
same
this.
sentence are a little...
So let me ask you this.
But Kevin Love playing defense on Steph Curry, where Curry was ready to answer Irving's three with a three of his own, and Love's playing some D on him, and he's like, I can't get this shot off. That had another
so
thing
Kyrie
to do with
Irving misses that shot. What do you remember most about the? You remember Kyrie missing that shot?
It depends on whether or not Cleveland wins that game.
That's what I'm saying. If Kyrie misses that shot, Cleveland doesn't win that game.
It depends. I mean, it's what is it, a 1-point game when he hits the three to make it a 2-point lead, and then Love plays the defense.
But all of that goes by the wayside because you go, okay, what do we remember most about that game? What do you're going to remember?
If the Cavs lose, it would be Irving missing the three or the lost opportunities during
What
the
do you
course
remember
of the
most
game.
about the Chicago Bulls versus the Cleveland Cavaliers the first time when Jordan hit that shot?
I can tell you where I was,
But
what I was
that's
doing.
what I'm saying. Like
Yeah.
nobody remembers the actions up until that shot.
But here's the one thing with which I'm still miffed to this day why Cavs fans did this. If you remember, that was a best-of-5 series, and the Cavs were down 2-1, and they kicked Chicago's ass in Chicago to tie the series up at 2. And for whatever reason, the fans of the Coliseum were just mercilessly saying, enjoy your golf, enjoy this, enjoy your summer. You ain't winning this. The hell's what is wrong? In what world do you think it's okay to tug on Superman's cape
But that's the
and start
difference.
talking crap
the
about
difference
them?
always between Jordan and LeBron is how they handle themselves in the face of adversity. I
Okay.
heard that Jordan was, or I'm sorry, I heard that LeBron was the most clutch player of all time. That is nowhere near the case.
You better look at the last shot field goal percentage. LeBron has a better field goal percentage than Michael does. For a last shot of a game, he has a higher field goal percentage than Mike does. He does, believe it or not.
How many has he taken? Has he taken as many as Mike?
I don't know if he's taken as many as Michael, because Lord
So
knows
that-
Michael took an awful lot.
Well, that's what I'm saying.
With a game on the line. With LeBron, it was.
But Ron, you and I can go to we can go to the ball field, and you go 1 for 1, and I go 3 for 10.
Yeah.
And you've got a higher percentage than I do.
No, I don't think the discrepancy is that much.
It's-
But I think
but-
I think and here's where the comparison is completely unfair. Michael was not the all-around basketball player LeBron is.
No.
Michael was not the contributor, the facilitator that LeBron is. He wasn't the rebounder that LeBron is. They both played good defense. I think Michael was better defensively. Michael was a fiend with a game on the line. He wasn't money, but he was good enough where you give him the last shot, there's a better than average chance you're going home.
I'll explain it this way. LeBron James is a better athlete than Michael Jordan. Michael
Agreed.
Jordan is a better basketball player.
I don't agree
LeBron
with
James.
that. I don't agree with that. I think LeBron's a better all-around player than Michael ever was. But
Michael plays better basketball than LeBron James.
I don't think he does.
I don't. I think so.
I think LeBron's a better rebounder, a better facilitator. Michael's a better scorer. They both play solid defense. The difference is Michael, because of management, Michael got a great solid cast around him, but it cost him. People want to sit back and say Michael's won more rings than LeBron. Absolutely true. And it will probably be true because I don't think LeBron's going to get to 6 championship rings. I think he'll probably stall out at 5. But LeBron, up to this point, and this might change because they're down 1-0 to Phoenix, this might change. LeBron James has never been eliminated in a first-round tournament, in a first-round playoff series. Michael's been eliminated 3 times in a first-round playoff series.
Michael's
first 3 years.
Michael's never been in a Game 7.
First 3 years of his career before they got Scotty, before they got Cartwright, before they got all the other players that made that team good, when it was Michael and a bunch of mediocre stuff. He got eliminated 3 straight years in the first round of the playoffs. LeBron's never been eliminated in a first-round playoff game. But your point is well taken. Michael's never been in a Game 7 because they've always closed the deal. LeBron's been in a lot of Game 7s.
Yep.
So it's,
Michael's never lost a championship.
no, he hasn't. But Michael's also been blessed with a far more talent than LeBron will ever
Disagree.
have. Oh, stop that.
LeBron's created his team. He's created
He
people
didn't
around
create
several times.
He didn't create anything at Cleveland the first time around. He took a bunch of scrubs with him to the NBA Finals.
Yeah, and how'd that go?
And they got their ass kicked. But the fact that he took these scrubs to the NBA Finals, that's, put that.
I mean, the Detroit game is among the best games I've ever seen him play. That was when he was my guy. He was my hero.
Yeah.
Because he doesn't necessarily run his yap
well,
as much.
Yeah.
But you remember, was it Donyell Marshall? He would kick, game on the line. You talk about him being a facilitator. He kicked out to Donyell Marshall for the three. Donyell missed it, and everybody's like, wait a minute. You're LeBron James. Why aren't you taking that shot?
And that's where the part of his game where if he sees an open guy and there's a wide open guy, you got a better chance of hitting the shot
Michael takes
than
that
I
shot.
do. Exactly.
100,
Michael takes the
nailed it.
shot. Absolutely he does. And more often than not, Michael nails the shot.
And that's the funny thing about it. Like people look at, if somebody said, tugging on Superman's cape, somebody makes fun of Michael Jordan. You know what he does? He sticks it right up your pooper.
Yes, he does. And he
LeBron
tells you about it.
LeBron James cries that somebody made fun of him. That's what he does. And it's that's what we're teaching, top down. That's what we're teaching these kids to do. You saw the eye poke thing. You saw the arm thing the other day. We're teaching kids how to flop. You have witnessed it firsthand. I have witnessed it on YSN firsthand.
It's sad.
It's bad.
Yeah, it's a bad look.
We need to start teaching what that guy is, and just instead of poking somebody in the eye, you drain a shot in their eye.
Well, I'm even going to go a little further back than that guy. I'll go a lot further back than that guy. I'll go back to the Michael and Larry Bird era, and I'll go back early Dr. J era, where the guys were even more vicious.
Oh yeah.
And the game was even more vicious than it is today, where if you do this,
Soft as
you're
Charmin.
you're going to get called for a foul if you do this. I saw guys getting clotheslined to the floor. Oh, yeah, okay. You play on. Oh, okay. We're going to have those kind of games. No, it's a different game. It's a different game in all sports. I mean, in baseball, I hate to say this, but if a pitcher goes up and in on a hitter, they don't mean to hit you. And there's a big difference, and I've said this for years. There's a big difference between a purpose pitch and a I'm drilling you pitch. Guys are good enough. Pedro Martinez was my guy. A lot of people hated him. I loved him because he was a Bob Gibson He was a throwback to Gibby, where I'm going to throw this ball and I'm going to come this far from your head, and you're going to get out of the way because you're going to be able to get out of the way. I don't mean to kill you, because if I wanted to, I would do it. But I'm going to go about this far away because I've got pinpoint control. People get taken aback when you see that stuff. I grew up with that stuff.
Yeah.
Somebody goes and does the stuff that they're doing now. You did that back then. I guarantee you, if somebody showboated and flipped their bat and pimped up the first base line, Cadillacing up the first base line off of Bob Gibson would have taken the guy's head off.
Yeah.
Or he would have thrown at him and put him on his ass and said, okay, now let's play some ball. It's different. It's a different world. It's not hardcore like it was back in the day, but that's okay. I mean, the money has changed too. I mean, people don't understand. In the 70s, people weren't getting paid what they're getting paid today. So you could be hardcore. Now, you're not going to get hard. You're not going to try to take a person and try to do a serious harm to that person, because
People get mad for swinging on a 3-0 count.
It's hundreds of millions of dollars of business. Oh, don't get me started with Tony La Russa and that BS. First of all, if it's a 3-0 pitch and somebody other than a pitcher is in the game and he throws you a meatball, the game is 162 games long, and you're trying to get an average. You're trying to get your money, essentially. If you're not doing a certain things on your team, you're not going to get the contract.
Dude, there's 6 no-hitters in baseball right now. If you throw me a meatball on 3-0,
I'm going to destroy it.
Because nobody's feeling bad for pitchers. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I'm going to destroy that pitch. If you throw me a meatball, and if somebody other than a pitcher, if an everyday player is now pitching, I'm still going to swing on a 3-0 pitch, and I'm going to destroy you.
Yep.
Now, I'm not going to take an extra base. I mean, if it's a line drive down the right field line, and I could go to second base, I'm not going to. I'm going to stay at first, and we'll go from there. I'm not going to steal a base up 8 runs because that's just wrong. But I'll swing at a 3-0 pitch. I mean, if you're going to give me a meatball, I'm going to hit it.
So wait a minute. Wait.
That's exactly what a hitter's supposed to do.
So you're going to swing at a 3-0 pitch up 8 runs, but you're not going to steal a base?
No.
Why? What's the difference?
You can swing at a 3-0 pitch, but you know as well as I do, there's a 70% chance if you're a 300 hitter, you're going to fail.
Yeah, but a 3-0 pitch right down Broadway.
You should be able to.
You should
be able to get a base hit.
You put it in the box. You go yard.
Yeah, you should be able to get a base hit.
So,
now, if you go yard, I'm not going to Cadillac. I'm just going to put my head down, circle the bases, and that's
but what's
the
the
end
difference
of that.
between hitting a home run up 8 runs and stealing a base up 3 runs or up 8 runs?
It's a bad look. It really is. I mean, you're hitting a home run. That's something that you think it's on demand. You can't do that. That's not an on demand thing. That's a thing that you're fortunate if you get one of those.
No, but if you put one in the gap, you're not going to take second base.
If it's a gapper, I'm going to take second, but I'm not going to take third. I'm not going to get greedy. I'm just going to sit back and go, okay, I'm just going to get the minimum, and then that's it.
The minimum is a single.
Well, but if it's up against the wall, I'm gonna take second.
You're disrespecting the game to me if you're not playing hard.
Yeah, but you're already disrespecting the game by putting an everyday player into the game and not a pitcher.
That's not. I mean, you're finishing the game. I mean,
you know,
you're trying to protect yourself for moving on.
I mean, I just you could play the game. You play the game the right way, and the game will reward you. I'm old school with a lot of things, but 3-0. If a guy's throwing me a meatball at 3-0, I'm going to take a shot at that.
So if the catcher lets you steal second base, that's on him, or
it's going to be indifference. It's not a steal. It's like last night when Jerron Williams, quote, stole second base in an 8-1 game. That wasn't a steal. It was indifference.
Well, it still gets counted on the stats book.
It doesn't. The official scorers have now realized that we won't say stolen base. It's now indifference, so you don't get a steal. You go and it is now ruled indifference. Catcher's indifference.
I know what the rule is, but it should still go as a stolen base because what else is like? There's no statistic for catcher's indifference. That would be the stupidest statistic
No, I
ever.
get that, but I think.
So how do you rate that in a book?
Yeah, I rated down IND, indifference, and then he went to third on a wild pitch and was stranded there.
That's a stolen base.
Yeah, it is, but it's not going to count as a steal. It's the official scorer will. A lot of the official scorers will sit back and go, "That's
then
not
how
a
do
steal."
you explain first to second? If you steal second base,
you just the official scorer. You haven't noticed this.
No, I know.
The official
I know what
scorer
it is.
will say catcher's indifference.
But sometimes the official score is not the same as the announcer, by the way.
No, but the guy that announces it in a press box is the official score.
If he comes up throwing and he just decides not to.
He decides not to in a blowout, it's catcher's indifference.
But it's not. Who decides a blowout?
The unwritten rules.
Stupid. That's stupid. It's a stolen base.
The unwritten rules determine that.
See, that's the bullshit that these old timers think. Oh, well, that's not really a stolen base. Okay.
We'll
talk about this.
It's not a stolen base. I don't know what to tell you.
I gotta go to Bob C.
All right, we're overdue for a break. Dan Bertolini going to talk some YSU baseball in a bit. Penguins taking on UIC, first round of the double elimination 4-team Horizon League tournament. Dan Bertolini coming up next. Stick around.
At Greenwood Chevrolet, we go the extra mile for you.
By finding you the right vehicle at the right price.
And by being with you for every mile of your journey.
Visit greenwoodchevrolet.com and tell us how we can go the extra mile for you.
New things happen all day. Some are good, some not so good. In today's complicated world, while you're busy working, playing, and living life, we're busy helping you make sense of the day's news. And there's only one place where it comes together with clarity, context, and accountability. It's 21 News at 6 with me, Madison Tromler, and Derek Steyer.
21 News at 6. It's what the day's news really means to you.
Welcome home to a home made homier with Baird Brothers Fine Hardwoods. Inspiration starts at BairdBrothers.com and is turned into reality when high-quality hardwoods are delivered right to your home. Baird Brothers has the latest design trends, shiplap and skinny lap interior siding, antique oak rustic flooring, and, well, you'll find them all at BairdBrothers.com. Ordered easily, delivered conveniently, enjoyed comfortably. BairdBrothers.com.
WRS Wealth Advisors, the area's premier wealth and retirement specialists. Located on South Avenue in Boardman.
Hi, this is Jim Myers with Myers Family Insurance, your local Medicare and retirement resource. We're excited to have sports back. Whether you're on the field or cheering from the stands, sports unifies communities and brings hope for the future. We're all one team working together. At Myers Family Insurance, we know the importance of a great team.
Our team continues to grow to help you with your Medicare and retirement needs.
The annual election period is October 15th through December 7th. Now's the time to make sure your plan continues to meet your needs for the upcoming year.
Call today.
Hi, I'm Colin Chupa. And I'm Kelsey Klim from K-Squared Marketing. Our boutique marketing firm specializes in media planning and buying, public relations, event marketing strategies, and strategic sponsorships. We can integrate our services with your existing game plan, or we can be your entire marketing team. Your goals, our game plan. Let's win together. Call K-Squared Marketing at 330-623-2730 or visit ksquared.marketing to learn more.
At Hubbard Chevrolet, Hubbard can help you get the financing you need regardless of your situation. I'm Tony Page, and I've helped thousands of customers in Northeast Ohio and Western Pennsylvania buy a vehicle. Bad credit, no problem. I can get you approved for a low-interest loan and maybe even a low-payment lease on a new car at the #1 Chevy dealership in Trumbull County for 3 years in a row. Visit HubbardChevy.com to get pre-approved or come see me, Tony Page, to get a new vehicle today. Remember, folks, Hubbard can help.
Welcome back to a Tuesday edition of Running Point. Ron Potesta with you, and we are joined, as always, at this time from YSU, the head baseball coach, the manager of the Youngstown State University baseball squad, Dan Bertolini. Skip, how are you today?
I'm doing fantastic, Ron. Beautiful day at Eastwood Field.
Amen to that. You guys, I saw you play on Sunday. Travis Perry was the story in Sunday's game. My goodness, did he give you 6 solid innings. At one point retiring 14 kids in a row, left the ball game only giving up 1 hit over 6 innings. As if you guys don't have enough pitching going into this tournament. If you can get that Travis Perry to pitch during the Horizon League tournament, I love your guys' chances.
Oh, absolutely. And in a normal day, if it wasn't senior day, he probably would have thrown even deeper into that game. He was electric. I mean, that's really the Travis Perry that we thought, was going to be the guy all year. And he's had some ups and downs and some bumps in the road. Just really happy for him that he persevered through it. He got taken out of the starting rotation and moved to the bullpen. And, I'm sure it wasn't easy for him, but he continued to work and put the time in. And hopefully that's a big sign for things to come for him for the rest of the season and, into next year.
Dan, you've been around this game to where you have seen, when it comes to tournaments, the unlikeliness of someone stepping up and having an unbelievable tournament which breeds success for your program. Is Travis Perry one of those kids that might very well be the guy that turns YSU's fortunes into Horizon League tournament champs?
He very well could be. It just depends on how the tournament plays out. Having a guy that's going to be 92, 94, that held his velocity into the 6th inning, is always a good thing to have in your rotation or potentially in the bullpen. So really, that's a big piece for us, and hopefully, he'll have a good tournament and we'll win some games.
This is a double elimination tournament. And, I've said so very often, in a single elimination tournament, if you're not throwing your ace, boy, you're really opening up Pandora's box, especially if you lose a game, because there's going to be a lot of second guessers saying, hey, you just got eliminated from a tournament without throwing your ace. The beautiful part of the double elimination tournament that you guys are embarking on this week, you don't necessarily have to throw your ace in game number one, especially if you have a guy that has done a much better job statistically against the team you're playing. And in this case, Colin Clark has done quite well for the Penguins in his 2 starts against UIC. And I would imagine if that was the direction you wanted to go, it would be a comforting feeling knowing that Colin Clark has been really, really solid against UIC this year.
Yeah, absolutely. And we're like about as fortunate as you can get as far as starting pitching. We really have 3 guys that could be aces, on anyone's staff in our league. And, I know Colin was picked to be preseason Horizon League Pitcher of the Year. Obviously, he's got a lot of talent, and he's really pitched well down the stretch. He had some bumps in the road early, but I think his last, 4 or 5 starts have been really good. Threw 8 scoreless against UIC in his last outing. And, he's, we feel like any of our starters can go out and win a game for us. And at some point, if we're going to win this thing, all 3 of those guys are going to have to win games for us. So, I don't necessarily know it matters the order once you throw them.
Dan Bertolini joining me on the MP Vivo Heating and Air Conditioning Hotline. Anthony Hardwig and I talked a little bit about this yesterday. In this format, it's almost as if you're probably in better shape if you were the team in the losers bracket game on Friday. If you were the team that lost the first game, won the elimination game on Thursday, and was right there to play the loser of the winners round, because that game is going to be played right off the bat. It's almost as if you're in a better spot if you've played your 2 games on Thursday and you're in the losers bracket awaiting the loser of the winners bracket game.
Well, I think the best place to be is in the winners bracket.
Well, obviously, especially if you win the 2 games, you're in the driver's seat.
Yeah, that's where we want to be. That's really where we're focused. If you get in the losers bracket, any team that gets in the losers bracket, it's going to be really difficult to get out of it, just because you have to play 5 games, and luckily we're fortunate we have a lot of depth in pitching, and that can help us. But anytime you're facing, it's a huge advantage for that team that wins the first 2 games. They have to be beaten twice. They're throwing their number 3 starter versus your number 4 or 5. It's just, you really got to hit at that point. You got to really hit if you're going to come back into the losers bracket. So our plan is to just win 3 straight and not have to worry about being in that losers bracket.
Yeah, it's very tantalizing to look at this tournament and say, hey, look, the first team that wins 3 in a row, they're the champs. They're going to go to the NCAA tournament, and they get an opportunity to do some damage and represent our league. It sounds so easy to win 3 games in a row, but this Horizon League tournament, I can make a case for all 4 of these teams to win the championship.
Yeah, it really just comes down to who plays their best baseball the last week of May, and we've talked about that all year. We want to be playing our best baseball into the last weekend, and I think we're in a really good spot. We're healthy. We have we've had some great individual efforts offensively on the pitching side, defensively. So we are very confident, and we got to stay focused on the most important game on our schedule, which is game number 1 of the Horizon League tournament against UIC, who's we've played some great games with. We split the regular season with them, so we know it's going to be a dogfight. They're going to throw Jacob Key, who's given us trouble all year. We've been fortunate to win 2 tight games against them. So he's a 6-year senior with tons of experience. He's going to be a guy that's, it's going to be a battle.
Coach, in a perfect world, and I don't know. Are you guys going to be going with Colin Clark or Colin Floyd in the first game?
Yeah, Colin Clark is going to throw our first
Okay.
game point.
So in the perfect world, Colin Clark knocks off Mr. Key again, and we go to the game on Friday. And in the perfect world, Milwaukee does the unthinkable, which, and look, they're the only team that has beaten Wright State in Dayton this year. So they shock Wright State, and then you have Colin Floyd going up against Milwaukee with the winner of this game in the driver's seat. That's the perfect world scenario.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, yeah, that would be ideal. Milwaukee has two really good left-handed pitchers that give a lot of people trouble. Their Friday starter, Fry, I'm sure, he pitched really well against Wright State last time. I think he lost 2-0, and then Mahoney, the big lefty, he got a win against them at their place. So, they listen, Milwaukee is a dangerous team. They can do a little bit of everything. They got some power. They can pitch. So it's just going to come down to, like I said before, 2014, we probably had no business winning the Horizon League Championship, but played really well, won 4 straight, and, next thing you know, you're playing in a regional and win a game in a regional. So it just really comes down to who can execute and who can play in the big stage in the biggest moment of the season.
Our UIC's on an 11-game winning streak, and it's one thing to be playing some really good ball. It's another to be having this win streak that UIC is on. And a part of me can sit back and say, okay, they're playing really, really good ball, and they're going to be a tough nut to crack. But then a part of me is like, this win streak is bound to end at some point. That's a pretty high number. I would not necessarily want to have that large of a win streak going into a tournament, because the law of averages are they're against them right now.
Yeah, and I think when you start the Horizon League, everyone starts at 0-0. So whatever you did in the past, I don't know if it really makes a difference. They know that we're going to throw some really good arms at them, and we're very capable of offensively of scoring a lot of runs. I think getting off to a fast start would be huge for us, being able to score early in that game. Take your runs when you can get them against E, and play good defense. So to us, I don't really look at what they've done in the past against other teams. I really look at what they've done against us. And, I think no matter who we're playing, I feel really confident with our guys on the mound.
Well, you've had great success against Milwaukee. You've held your own against UIC and Wright State as well. And as I've said numerous times, if it comes down to a lengthy tournament, I like YSU and Wright State because the pitching depth from starters to the back of the bullpen, I think your pitching depth and I think Wright State's pitching depth is a little better than UIC and Milwaukee at this point.
Yeah. Yeah, I would agree that that our pitching depth is really good. Obviously Wright State's got some really good arms. UIC runs 3 or 4 guys out there that can really give you trouble. So it's gonna be exciting, and this is what we've wanted for so long is to play meaningful baseball with an opportunity to win a Horizon League title. That's why we recruited these players. That's why we've had success, because these guys are no moment's too big. They've been in a lot of big situations. They've been here for a long time. Anytime I think you get to a tournament, experience is really important, and our guys have got a lot of experience on the field. So, I think that definitely works to our favor.
Dan Bertolini, the manager of the YSU baseball program, joining me on the MP Vivo Heating and Air Conditioning Hotline. I got to ask, when you guys secured the first win of this series against Milwaukee, it was win number 30 of the campaign. And we've already broken the record for most wins in a Horizon League, but to get to the number 30, a number that has not been a number that we have seen on YSU baseball in quite some time. You're going to go back to the Dom Roselli era when they were a Division II program playing their home games at Pemberton Park. It's been a long time coming since this team has won 30 games in a regular season. What was the celebration like?
Yeah, it was exciting. It was it was a big weight lifted from our players. You know, that was important to them. We've always, you know, we talk every day about leaving your legacy and leaving a place better than when you found it. And, you know, that's a way for them to etch their, at least the first part of it. We've broken a lot of records this year in the Horizon League, and, you know, just individual guys have broken a lot of records, but that one's really important. That's like the gold standard for success for a team, is getting to that 30-win mark. And for us to be able to do that at home in front of our home crowd with our two horses on the mound, Colin Floyd getting his 9th win of the season, and Colin Clark coming in and throwing really great, you know, it meant so much to those guys. And then in the last game of the season on Senior Day, for Joel Hake to get a strikeout to end the game and set the new program record for strikeouts in a season, that was a really special moment this entire weekend.
Yeah, I thought it was incredibly classy of you to stop the game in the 9th inning and bring Joel Hake on for his final appearance at Eastwood Field, and for the seniors to be taken out of the ball game in the middle of the inning. I thought it was incredible. The place was electric. It was just a really, really cool venue, and just a great, great moment for this program and for the kids that have brought this program to a level that we haven't seen in quite some time.
Yeah, it was. You know, Sunday was an emotional day. Just I try to keep it in check, just because, you know, there's still so much. It's a tough balance from, you know, honoring what's happening and what these guys have done for our program here at Eastwood, and, you know, their last game, but also, you know, keeping focused on, you know, there's still a lot left out there, and there's a lot of games left to be played, and hopefully a lot more things to accomplish here the rest of the season. But I'm so happy for those seniors. They get to go out, you know, here at Eastwood on their terms. They, you know, a lot of them. Blaze Glenn got a hit in his last at bat with an RBI. Nick Caruso got hit by a pitch in his last at bat. Gary got to throw in the last inning. Joel got to throw in the last inning. So that was special, and I'm sure it's a moment they'll never forget. And I appreciate them for what they've done for us.
You know, and while we're sitting back and talking about the accolades of this program, and justifiably so, I always love to look into the crystal ball and look into the future of this program. Dan, you and the staff have done such an amazing job with recruiting, to the point where next year's team, if things go according to plan, could be every bit as good as this year's team. Maybe not in the starting rotation, but top to bottom, this is a team that it's not going to be a one-year thing. You have put this program to a position where I believe Youngstown State now has a sustained program, and that's something that we haven't seen in a long, long time, and that's a credit to you and your coaching staff.
I can't thank my staff enough for just, you know, the time and the evaluating and being able to, you know, we pride ourselves on not just recruiting but developing. You know, for us here, we have to get a certain type of player and really focus on the development of them from when they get here as a freshman to when they leave here as a senior. And I think we do an outstanding job of developing them, and not just on the field, but, you know, throughout their entire, you know, try to impact their entire lives. Whether it's academic, we had, I don't know how many guys over 3.0, 3.32 cum this spring, and, you know, yeah, we're in a good place. I mean, that's what we've always wanted to. You know, we've had success here at Youngstown State. We've had lots of success. We've had guys drafted, and players of the year, pitchers of the year, All-Americans, and everything. But it hasn't been as sustained as we want it to be. So that's what our goal was, is to be able to sustain success here. And I think we're at a point where we can, you know, hopefully, if things go the way we want, that we can continue to do that.
Have you taken a page from President Tressel's playbook when he was the coach at YSU during the 90s, and you plant a flag in the state of Youngstown, draw a 100-mile radius around the state, and start recruiting a high percentage of your kids from that area? Because, you know, I mean, it's not a coincidence that baseball in this area has always been good, to the tune of there's always been some really good programs. And we do have a really nice Sandlot Summer League program in the B League, and it seems like you are using that area a little more than some of the coaches from previous years, where you're getting a lot more kids from a 100-mile radius.
Yeah. I mean, that's our goal. Is we want, we'd like to try to get, I think if you look at our recruiting classes from the past years, a lot of our guys are from that 100-mile radius of Youngstown, and that leaks us into Pittsburgh and into Cleveland and into Akron, and then a little bit south of that. A lot of our guys, we get a lot of those guys from trying to get as many guys to stay here locally as we can, and then obviously you're going to bring some pieces in from wherever you have to kind of fill the void that you need. But we're proud of. These guys are proud to represent Youngstown State. It means a lot to them to wear YSU on their uniforms, and that's an important part when we're looking at from a recruiting standpoint.
Dan Bertolini, our guest on the MP Vivo Heating and Air Conditioning Hotline. All right, I got to ask, what is it going to take? What are the things that you guys must do to win the 3 games in a row and get out of here as conference tournament champs?
We just have to do what's made us successful all year. Play great defense. I think we fielded a 970 this year, which is a new school record. We have to be able to pitch at a high level, and when we feel like those starters are going to give us that opportunity. Our bullpen's been great, so, if we can continue to pitch. And then, anytime you're going to win a championship, you gotta situationally hit, and you got to hit with runners in scoring position. And that's going to be it. And our guys are so selfless. They'll bunt. They'll do whatever it takes to improve it. And that's what's made us really good down the stretch. Even in that last game against Milwaukee, we had one big inning where we scored 3 early, but then we were able to get 1 an inning, 1 the next inning, 1 the next inning. And it might be a double, move a guy over on a ground ball, hit a sac fly. Only 1 hit, but we're able to score a run in that inning. And for us to be able to do that in the playoffs, that's going to be really important.
The situational hitting, I'm glad you brought that up, Skip. I was impressed by what I saw on Sunday. It's, I don't know how many times I've tried to tell people, if you got a runner at second base and less than 2 outs, it's not a bad thing to hit the ball behind the runner and have him move to third base, where that player at third can score on a wild pitch, a passed ball. If there's less than 2 outs, a sacrifice fly. It's not a bad thing to move the runner over 90 feet, especially if you're doing it with less than 2 outs. And in the professional game, situational hitting is not nearly as impressive as it is in college and in high school. And as an old school baseball guy, I love me some situational hitting.
Yeah, and our guys are bought in on it, and in the playoffs against good pitching, you might not get that many opportunities. You're probably not going to get 5 or 6 hits in an inning. So, you have to just find ways to manufacture and score runs, whether it's to steal a bag or get a good dirt ball read, hit behind a guy, hit a sacrifice fly, hit with 2 strikes. You got to find a way to score, because every run's going to be meaningful, no matter what the score is, whether you're up or you're down. If you can continue to tack on and get a run here and get a run there, next thing you know, you hit a home run, and now you have a 5-run lead instead of a 1-run lead. Those are going to be important. So, we're really stressed it to our guys. We'll have a good game plan going in, and hopefully, we're well prepared, and those guys will go execute it like they've done all year long. And play at a high level and have fun. And this group, I can't talk about it enough. They are so fun to coach. They're so fun to be around. They all love each other. They get along so well. It's been an absolute pleasure to get a chance to coach these guys, and I look forward to that continuing this weekend. And it's a special group. So. I have a lot of confidence in this group to play at a high level this weekend.
And that is so underrated. I know a lot of folks think, oh, come on, clubhouse chemistry, that's not that big of a deal. Baloney, it is a big deal.
Yeah, we spend a lot of time together. I mean, these guys spend more time with us than they spent with their families over the course of their careers. And, you know, a lot of these guys have been around each other for a long time. We have a lot of guys that, you know, have been here. We don't have a lot of new guys on this year's roster. So these guys have known each other forever. They know what makes them tick. They know, you know, the types of people that they are. They've really grown to respect and love each other. And, you know, it's fun, you know, and chemistry is a big part of success. You know, you want guys that I always say, you want guys you can lose with, because it's easy to win with anybody, but sometimes it's difficult, you know, in those difficult situations. And these guys, you know, all year we've been resilient on no matter what the situation is, no matter what we did. You know, I think we only lost 3 series all year. You know, over the course of the season, we lost, you know, the 2 early and then 1 to Wright State. Other than that, the season series, I think we either tied or won every series the rest of the way. So we've had some bumps in the road, though. We've lost some games. You know, we lose 3 in a row. We find a way to come back and win the next series and keep yourself in position. So we're battle tested, and you know, it's a really fun group. They're a blast to be around.
Is there a player that you're looking at that really hasn't done all that much in the regular season, but is right there ready to explode in the tournament?
Boy, I mean, we've had contributions from just about everybody. You know, I mean, there hasn't been a guy that hasn't done something that's really helped us. I think our lineup from top to bottom has just been really good. Everyone's had their time. It wouldn't surprise me if you know, not one of our, you know, top 5 hitters was conference, you know, ended up being player of the tournament, because there's a lot of experience at the bottom part of our lineup, you know, where those guys, you know, could go off in a tournament just because they're quality hitters and quality players, and you know, can just find the barrel on the weekend. So if Luke Nastani or Nick Caruso end up being, you know, player of the tournament, I wouldn't be that surprised.
Dan Bertolini, the manager of the YSU baseball program, joining me on the MP Vivo Heating and Air Conditioning Hotline. All right, so Colin Clark is going to pitch game number 1 based on the success that he's had against UIC, and obviously if YSU's in the winners bracket, Colin Floyd against Wright State or Milwaukee. I'll take my chances, and even if you're in the losers bracket, hopefully you're not. I'll take my chances with Colin Floyd. Obviously, you don't want to play 2 games in one day. You still want to be able to win on Thursday, win on Friday, win the 1 game on Saturday, and celebrate and go to the NCAA tournament for a 3rd time.
That sounds like the plan. I like we like playing just 1 game a day, so hopefully that'll be our plan all the way through. And when we talk next week, we'll be talking about where we're going to end up.
Hey, just food for thought. The 3 seed in the Horizon League Women's Tournament won the tournament. Maybe lightning strikes twice, and the men's tournament gets the 3 seed as well.
There you go. You never know.
Hey, we'll talk on Tuesday, and hopefully it is in preparation of the regional NCAA regional tournaments. Good luck this weekend, Skip.
Thanks a lot, Ron. Appreciate it.
You got it. Dan Bertolini, the head baseball coach, the manager of the YSU baseball program. All right, we got to take a timeout. On the other side, we got lots to talk about. So we really didn't get into to the high school scene. We got off on a tangent, TJ and I. Holy smokes, that was about 2 hours worth of just BSing back and forth. A lot of talk with the Scrappers. And by the way, game time tonight in West by God, Virginia, 6:35 game time. I believe the broadcast starts at 6:20 with the pregame show. 6:35 game time. Scrappers and the Black Bears, final game of the series. Tomorrow night is the home opener, weather permitting. Hopefully we get the ball game in. We'll talk a little bit about that tomorrow. We got tournament talk, high school tournament talk, and we got a lot of things to talk about for sure. 330-886-0813, the MP Vivo Heating and Air Conditioning Hotline, open for business. We're back in a bit on this Tuesday edition of Running Point on ysnlive.com.
Your first and last stop with your tax return should be with me, Tracy Bryden at Greenwood Chevrolet in Austintown. No other dealer goes the extra mile to bring you the largest selection of vehicles at one convenient location. With guaranteed credit approval, I will find you the right vehicle and the right financing options for you. I am ready to go the extra mile to show you why no other dealer sells more cars, finances more, and gets you more for your refund than Greenwood Chevrolet in Austintown.
Quality, customer service, and integrity. Those are the 4 words that have driven our success since 1957 at Joe Dickey Electric.
Joe Dickey Electric is one Mahoning Valley landmark business that stays current with the requirements of our customers. Family owned and managed, we are an electrical contractor and energy solutions provider. Every member of our team adds to his or her skill set through ongoing training. Residential, commercial, industrial, automotive, and more. We keep ahead of the needs of our customers with a fleet of more than 50 vehicles and 24/7 emergency service, so you're never left in the dark.
Jimmy Sudman here, Director of Isle, Purple Cat, and Golden String. We are happy to support YSN and 2 of my favorite people, Scotty Mincher and Super Dave O'Malley. We are an agency that provides services for adults with disabilities. We infuse humor, passion, and joy into their lives. If you know of any folks with disabilities that need our assistance, please contact us.
Your teams work hard and give it all they've got. Well, so does ours, because 21 Sports and YSN give you extra effort when covering local sports. 21 Sports and YSN, winning coverage of our Valley's teams.
When looking for home design inspiration, don't just be inspired, be Baird inspired. Whether new or remodeling, Baird Brothers has the latest trends like shiplap to refresh your home. Go from inspiration to installation with our wide selection of in-stock American hardwoods. From the rustic charm of antique oak to the warmth of traditional cherry, Baird Brothers has what you need to make your home inspiring. Baird Brothers, our family's heritage, your family's home.
Hello, I'm Greg Burbick with G. Burbick Farms. For the last 100 years, my family has farmed in Columbiana and Mahoning counties. I began raising cattle in 1996 with the goal of providing a better product for you and your family on the dinner table. Our grass-fed and grain-supplemented Black Angus beef are raised with no hormones, steroids, or antibiotics. We're known for our hometown-friendly service and incredible tasting products. We're locally owned and have customers across the tri-state area. Our products go from our farm to your family. Stop by our farm on New Buffalo Road or visit us on the web at gburbickfarms.com. Don't forget to like us on Facebook. G. Burbick Farms, it just tastes better.
This is Tommy Clem, owner of WRS Insurance Solutions.
WRS Insurance Solutions is a local independent agency that specializes in life, Medicare, long-term care, and disability products. Call us at 330-953-3722 or visit us at wrsinsuranceSolutions.com to learn more.
Good luck to all the student athletes in the Valley.
If you're looking for a quality pre-owned vehicle, why shop anywhere else but Tri-State Ford? Choose from our great selection of pre-owned vehicles. Plus, we've got you covered with our exclusive Tri-State Ford Advantage. It includes a 10-year, 200,000-mile warranty with your pre-owned vehicle and much more. Come see why so many customers from the Tri-State area buy their pre-owned vehicle at Tri-State Ford.
Customer focus, community driven. Tri-State Ford East Liverpool or visit tristateford.net.
Welcome back to a Tuesday edition of Running Point on ysnlive.com. The MP Vivo Heating and Air Conditioning Hotline open for business. 330-886-0813. All right, we have Division II and Division III baseball from yesterday. Over at Scene Park, Division II, Canfield just demolishing Marlington. Ryan Petro, a 7-strikeout, no-walk performance. Josh Giuliano with 4 hits, including 2 doubles and 4 runs batted in. Just an amazing performance by Canfield. And again, I think that Canfield is on one of those runs where they should be able to win the district championship, although they will play a very difficult team in Canton South. Again, another team from the EBC that knocked off Howland yesterday. And look, Howland gave Canfield 2 really good baseball games, so immediately you're looking at Canton South, and you got to have that respect factor because, well, they beat a team that gave Canfield all they could ask for in the 2 baseball games that Canfield played against them. So it will not be a easy game in the district championship, but I think Canfield should be able to win that district title. And then you'll go into the regionals. And, I have said Chagrin Falls is a team that they may not beat Canfield, but they would give Canfield a really, really, really good test. Salem, if they can get past Chardon, would give Canfield a really, really, really good test. I think that region is, that region is going to be an amazing region at Thurman Munson Stadium in Canton. It'll be interesting to see what happens. So Canfield will play Canton South at 5 o'clock at Scene Park, and I'm just going to assume it'll be Field 1 where they will play that game on Wednesday, and that should be entertaining to say the least. The nightcap will be the Division III District Championship at Scene Park between Cardinal Mooney and Burton Berkshire. Berkshire knocked off Springfield. Just a well-played game by both teams. It was a great pitchers' duel. It's unfortunate that the war of attrition was won by Berkshire. They scored a run in the bottom of the 8th inning, a sacrifice fly that gave Burton Berkshire a 1-0 win over Springfield. Great game, well-pitched game, well-played game. It was the antithesis of the first game where there was offense. A ton of offense. Cardinal Mooney exploding for 8 runs over the final 2 innings to get a 12-1 5-inning victory over Garrettsville Garfield. I think the D3 district title game, it's a toss-up. Anyone could win this game, and I think it's going to be a lot of fun to see who comes out on top between Cardinal Mooney and Burton Berkshire. In Niles, let's back up, Louisville. In Louisville, a slugfest of sorts with Salem and Niles. Niles jumped out to a 2-0 lead. Salem scored 5 times in the bottom of the 3rd to take a 5-2 lead. Then it was 5-3. Then Niles took a 7-5 lead. Then back came Salem to tie the ball game up at 7. Niles scored a run in the top of the 6th to make it 8-7, 8-8. I'm sorry. And then Salem came back to take the lead and score an insurance run to make it 10-8. Every time Niles scored after the 3rd inning, after the 4th inning, after the 2nd inning, Salem scored 5 after Niles scored a run in the 3rd inning. And then Niles scored 1 run in the 4th. Salem didn't answer. But after the 4th inning, Salem answered every time Niles scored a run. And this Salem team, as DJ said, it's filled with swagger. This is a team that firmly believes they are good enough to get the job done. They'll get tested in the district championship game. Look, they were tested yesterday by Niles. They'll get another stern test. This Chardon team is a solid team. Salem will most definitely get tested tomorrow afternoon at 5 o'clock when they take on Chardon for a district championship. But I fully expect Salem and Canfield to win their district championship games. I'll be very surprised if they don't. And I think that would set up a really good regional semifinal game between these two teams. But, one step at a time. They both play for a district championship. Canfield playing Canton South at 5 o'clock at Scene Park. Salem playing Chardon at 5 o'clock at Louisville. Best of luck to both teams. I really think that Canfield and Salem can win district championships. They got an outstanding chance to do so. And then you go to Niles, Division III. Rootstown getting their victory, not a surprise. Rootstown is a solid team. They're worthy of their number 1 seed. The surprise came in the nightcap. Not that South Range won, but the fact that South Range rolled the dice and didn't throw their ace in the district semifinal game. They took a gamble. Look, Crestview record was 8-13, and you saw Crestview when they were on their A game, they were a good team. They were a solid team when they were on their A game. But with Crestview, an 8-13 record going up to that game, you didn't see that A game all that often. And South Range took a calculated risk by throwing their 2-starter, Billy Skirpak, on the hill. And he responded in a pretty good way. 15 up, 15 down. South Range scores 10 runs, and they mercy roll Crestview, and Skirpak pitches a 5-inning perfect game. That's about as good of a situation as you can get. Because, look, anytime you roll the dice and you don't throw your ace in a game in which it's single elimination, and you're in a district semifinal and you don't throw your ace and you lose that game, boy, does that come back to bite you. I mean, you get a bunch of egg on your face because, look, the argument is there. You didn't use your ace in a single elimination tournament with an opportunity to go to the district championship game. You didn't use your ace? Boy, you're going to get second-guessed if it doesn't turn out right. And thankfully for South Range, it turned out right. Because the gamble on this is real simple. I don't know what Rootstown did. I'm going to assume Rootstown pitched their ace. The gamble by not pitching your ace in the district semifinal is now you have your 1 against their 2 for a district championship. And now all of a sudden, even though South Range is the 2 seed and Rootstown is the 1 seed, if Rootstown is pitching their 2 against South Range's ace, my money's on South Range. Not that I'm putting money on a high school event. I'm not that pathetic. But the favorite is no longer the number 1 seed. The favorite's going to be the number 2 seed because the number 2 seed now has their ace pitching against, in all likelihood, Rootstown's number 2. Now, if Rootstown did the same thing as South Range, then you've got the aces going up against each other in a district championship game. All bets are off, and obviously Rootstown is the 1 seed for a reason, but look, South Range, they said it from the get-go, we want to be in Niles. We want to go to this region. Well, they get their wish. They're taking on the top-seeded team for a district championship. Let's see if the gamble pays off. If it does, South Range goes to the regional tournament. If it doesn't, South Range goes home, district runner-up. It'll be real. I'll be real curious to see what happens. But there is a possibility. There is the possibility, and you still got to win 2 games. You know, we're still light years away from the reality. Cardinal Mooney playing South Range for a regional championship. It exists, but you've got a lot of work to do. Mooney and South Range have their hands full in this district championship game. This is not a... let me put it to you this way. I have more faith in Canfield and Salem winning their games in Division II. Not to say that I don't think Mooney and South Range will win. I do. I do believe Mooney and South Range will win their games, and they'll go to the D3 regional tournament. But I'm not as high on Mooney and South Range's chances as I am on Canfield and Salem's chances. That's not saying that they're not going to do it. Again, I think South Range and Mooney will win their district championship games. I'm just not 100% sure that South Range and Mooney, I'm not. It's not a slam. It's not as much a slam dunk as I think Canfield and Salem is. And I might be wrong on that. Lord knows it wouldn't be the first time I'm wrong about something. I mean, let's be honest. It's and none of us are perfect, so it wouldn't be the first time for me to sit back and say, hey, by the way, I was wrong about this. No, listen, it could happen where Mooney and South Range win, and then one of Canfield or Salem doesn't win. Could happen. Who knows? But best of luck to Canfield, Salem, South Range, and Mooney. I think we go for 4 for 4 tomorrow. I do. I think we go 4 for 4 tomorrow, but we'll see. We'll see what happens. It wouldn't surprise me if we go 2 for 4. It wouldn't surprise me if we go 3 for 4. I think we're going to go 4 for 4 at the very minimum. I think we go 2 for 4. Anything less than 2 for 4, I'll be stunned. Division I baseball today, district semifinals. Austin Fitch is playing Massillon. That's a 5 o'clock start at Thurman Munson Stadium. This is going to be a good game. This is going to be a solid game. I like Fitch. I like how this team is constructed. I think that this is a solid team top to bottom. Massillon, year in, year out, really good baseball program. Fitch will get tested today. They will most definitely get tested today. Your Division IV tournaments, Jackson, Milton, and Western Reserve doing battle as we speak. This game is being played over at Fairport Harbor. This is a game that the winner of the game will be taking on the winner of Matthews and St. Thomas Aquinas. And that game is going to be played at 5 o'clock. So the winner of the Jackson Milton Western Reserve game gets the winner of Matthews and St. Thomas Aquinas. One of our YSN schools is guaranteed to be in the Division IV district title game from Fairport Harbor. Technically, it could be an all-local matchup, even though Matthews is not part of the YSN family. It could be an all-local matchup, being that Matthews is a Trumbull County school. Over at Scene Park, Kennedy will play Lisbon at 4 o'clock. Southern Local will play Heartland Christian at 6:30. Here's the beautiful part of Division IV Scene Park. We're guaranteed to have a team going to the regionals. One of these 4 teams will go to the regionals, and all 4 of these teams are a YSN school. So we're guaranteed a Division IV team in the regional semifinals. And I'll tell you what, Kennedy, Lisbon, Southern, Heartland Christian, they're both going to be outstanding games. They'll both be outstanding games. There's not an overwhelming favorite in either one of these games. I don't believe there's an overwhelming favorite. Much like I don't think there's an overwhelming favorite with Jackson Milton Western Reserve or Matthews St. Thomas Aquinas. I think this is just going to be some solid baseball that is going to be played in Division IV in the district semifinals. And the Jackson Milton Western Reserve game going on as we speak, hoping to get some updates at some point before we get out of here. I'm hoping to get some updates. And, of course, Matthews and St. Thomas Aquinas later today. And over at Scene Park, coming up at 4 o'clock, Kennedy taking on Lisbon. At 6:30, Southern taking on Heartland Christian. You're going to have some good baseball. Good baseball being played in Division IV in the district tournaments. Tomorrow, as we mentioned, D2, D3 district champions. And then tomorrow we get the softball going. Division II from Firestone Stadium in Akron. Your regional semifinal game, West Branch taking on Richfield Revere. That's a 5 o'clock start tomorrow afternoon from Firestone Stadium in Akron. and closer to home at Farmers National Bank Field on the campus of Youngstown State University. Tomorrow afternoon at 2 o'clock, the D3 regional semis. Ursuline taking on Sheffield. Brookside at 2 o'clock. South Range taking on Massillon Tuslaw. That game will start at 5 o'clock. In a perfect world, obviously you want South Range and Ursuline to win, setting up a all-local regional championship game, which would be absolutely phenomenal. That would be phenomenal, but that's all coming up tomorrow. All right, take a timeout. Be back with more. It is a Tuesday edition of Running Point on ysnlive.com.
No matter what the weather, be prepared with a reliable, efficient Ruud gas furnace or air conditioner from MP Vivo Heating and Air Conditioning. Call your energy-efficient expert, MP Vivo, today for a free estimate.
Here at MP Vivo, we rely on Ruud, and so should you.
It's storm season.
I think we're under the gun for some heavy storms over the next couple of hours.
And Storm Tracker 21 is ready.
This is probably the one we're keeping a closer eye on.
On air.
And locally, we're going to have a lot of eyes on our area.
Online.
All right, let's talk high-risk futurecast and the timing of this weather.
On social media and on our app.
Rain will come and go tomorrow. There'll be some dry intervals.
Stay ready with Storm Tracker 21.
The severe weather threat now through around sunset this evening.
Myers Family Insurance knows the importance of a great team.
Our team continues to grow to help you with your Medicare and retirement needs.
The annual election period is October 15th through December 7th. Now's the time to make sure your plan continues to meet your needs for the upcoming year.
Call today.
Years ago, Baird Brothers Fine Hardwoods began with 3 siblings, a hand-set sawmill, and a few local orders. And while business has certainly changed over the years, what has not are our principles of hard work, craftsmanship, and commitment to quality. At Baird Brothers, we're proud to put our name on the products we create, from moldings and doors to flooring and lumber. Thank you for 60 great years. We look forward to 60 more. Baird Brothers, for the place you love.
Tri-State Ford announces our 96-hour Memorial Day sales event. 4 days of huge savings on every vehicle. Get top dollar for your trade or sell us yours. Attention, current lessees of all makes and models. Turn in your lease early and get up to $2,500 trade equity. Plus, our exclusive Tri-State Ford Advantage includes a 10-year, 200,000-mile warranty. Don't miss this event.
Customer focus, community driven. Tri-State Ford East Liverpool or visit tristateford.net.
Welcome back to a Tuesday edition of Running Point. Some breaking news with the YSU baseball teams. The hardware handed out for the Horizon League. This is no surprise. Colin Floyd named the 2021 Horizon League Pitcher of the Year. Congratulations to him. Senior second baseman Jeff Whaler is on the first team All-Horizon League. Congratulations to Jeff Whaler. Those 2 kids were on the first team All-Horizon League. Here are the kids that are on second team All-Horizon League. Junior right-hander John Snyder. He's on the All-Horizon second team edition. Senior third baseman Blaze Glenn, second team All-Horizon League. Senior outfielder Dominic Bucco, second team All-Horizon League. Also second team All-Horizon League, junior shortstop Philip Glasser. So the left side of the infield, second team All-Horizon League. Yeah, a couple of outfielders, a pitcher. Yeah, this is huge, and I'm hoping that we're getting the announcement that Dan Bertolini was named Manager of the Year, or at least he should be named Manager of the Year for the Horizon League. Hopefully, we'll get that. We'll take a timeout and wrap this puppy up. It is a Tuesday edition of Running Point on ysnlive.com.
Hi everyone, this is DJ Yoakley with Your Sports Network. We appreciate your support of YSN and welcome you to the YSN family. Our broadcast streams are brought to you live at no cost to you by sponsors that are local to this community. Without the vision and generosity of our sponsors and partners, we would not be able to bring this game to you today. So please support the great businesses and leaders that are making this game possible. And if you're a business in need of great advertising and sponsorship opportunities, feel free to head over to our site for more information on the right fit for you. We are local, we are loyal, and we are live. We are YSN.
News doesn't stop after the sun goes down. Sometimes you just have to hustle to get it. At 21 News, no matter how far it is, no matter what it takes to get there, we're working to bring you the best stories and the freshest content at 11 p.m. with the context and clarity that makes it worth staying up for, no matter what time it is. 21 News at 11 with me, Erin Simonek, and Derek Steyer.
21 News at 11, news that's worth your time.
WRS Wealth Advisors is the area's premier wealth and retirement specialist. With our combined 70 years experience and comprehensive wealth strategy, we assist our clients attain their goals. Call 330-965-0370 to learn more about our individual and corporate financial planning services, or visit WRSWealthAdvisors.com. Good luck, athletes!
Your first and last stop with your tax return should be with me, Tracy Bryden at Greenwood Chevrolet in Austintown. No other dealer sells more cars, finances more, and gets you more for your refund than Greenwood Chevrolet in Austintown.
At Greenwood Chevrolet, we go the extra mile for you.
By finding you the right vehicle at the right price.
By giving you confidence in your vehicle with the Greenwood Advantage warranty.
By guaranteeing you financing,
regardless of your situation or credit history.
And by being with you for every mile of your journey.
At Greenwood Chevrolet, we do whatever it takes to go the extra mile. So, how can we go the extra mile for you?
Ah, the details. Baird Brothers Fine Hardwoods is one fine ride. Perfect cornering, superb handling, sporty and stylish, power to spare, plus awesome mileage. Yeah, jaw-droppingly beautiful lines and well appointed with luxurious trim. Put more oomph in your life and start beholding the molding. Find your home's fine hardwood at BairdBrothers.com.
Planning a project around your home or rental property? Trust the electrical service to the local experts with 62 years of serving the Mahoning Valley. Joe Dickey Electric is your local go-to source for responsive, reliable residential electrical work. From everyday maintenance and repairs to new installations, electrical upgrades, and safety inspections, no job is too big or too small. Call Joe Dickey Electric today, 800-549-3976, or visit DickeyElectric.com. That's DickeyElectric.com.
For heating, cooling, and indoor air quality, the Mahoning Valley trusts MP Vivo Heating and Air Conditioning, offering worry-free repair, service, and installation. Call MP Vivo today for a free estimate.
MP Vivo Heating and Air Conditioning. We're your energy efficient experts.
If you're looking for a new Ford vehicle, why shop anywhere else but Tri-State Ford? Choose from our great selection of new Ford models. Plus, we've got you covered with our exclusive Tri-State Ford Advantage. It includes a 10-year, 200,000-mile warranty with your new Ford. Come see why so many customers from the Tri-State area buy their new Ford at Tri-State Ford.
Customer focus, community driven. Tri-State Ford East Liverpool or visit tristateford.net.
Before we get out of here are the games of note for tonight. Free of charge. You get a 14U game from Scene Park Field 2, if I'm not mistaken. Astro Falcons taking on Athletics at 5:30. You got a 6:35 matchup. The Scrappers taking on the West Virginia Black Bears. You can go to ysnlive.com/Scrappers to listen to that game. Athletics taking on the Prospects at 8 o'clock in a 14U game from field number 2. The pay-per-view wall is up. It is the season. It's district tournaments. Tournaments in general, the pay-per-view wall is always up. $9.99 will get you these 4 games. And I do apologize. The time Fitch and Massillon is actually going on right now as we speak, and unfortunately we do not have an update on that game. Fitch and Massillon, 2 o'clock start. Western Reserve, Jackson Milton, a 2 o'clock start. 4 o'clock today, Lisbon taking on Warren JFK. At 6:30 tonight, Heartland Christian taking on Southern Local, and that is what is going on. Power Hour is coming up next. Have yourself a great rest of the day. We will talk tomorrow, noon to 3, ysnlive.com. Have a great one.